Chapter 1, The Freeloader King System. Host detected with over 99% inert cells, meeting the basic requirements for being a freeloader. Bind now? Yes, binding it right away. Upon hearing this, I agreed without hesitation. Had it been before my senior year, I might have overthought it with unnecessary hesitation. But now, as a senior, I couldn't even secure an internship, let alone a job, utterly clueless no matter what they asked. Faced with such a system falling from the sky, how could I refuse? I have no background, no skills, and no money, just an ordinary student from a bottom-tier second-rate college, possessing nothing but youth. I'm not afraid of being a kept man. I'm afraid of not even having the chance. Never thought I'd actually be the chosen one. I feel all the misfortune in the first half of my life was just paving the way for this moment of luck. But after I agreed, the system fell silent for what felt like ages. I even started to think I'd hallucinated it, until the voice finally spoke again. A qualified kept man must be presentable in public and capable in the kitchen. The host's qualifications are at the lowest tier. It is recommended that the host strengthen his skills. The following subjects are mandatory: cooking, fitness, painting, flower arrangement, fashion, organizing, accounting, nursing, childcare, singing, makeup, foreign languages. Stop. What the hell is all this? I had a sinking feeling in my gut. How could a freeloader system include such things? I felt utterly scammed. More learning is required to eat soft rice with confidence. There are 353 items remaining. Host is advised to enroll in courses and master at least 219 of them to meet basic qualifications. Please make an effort. What the hell? If I could actually learn all these skills, would I even need to be a freeloader? No way. I request an immediate unbinding. Unbind me right now, I shouted. The binding cannot be voluntarily dissolved. Only upon the host's physical demise will it be released. The system's voice continued flatly. Please cooperate fully and strive to become an exceptional kept man, promptly finding your ideal meal ticket. Beep beep, beep beep, beep beep. Phone how, turn off your alarm clock, it's driving me crazy. Old Xiao from the opposite bunk threw a book at me, jolting me awake. I opened my eyes in confusion and saw my phone alarm ringing. Seriously, 6 a.m.? How long has it been since I last woke up this early? Several yawns later, I finally managed to turn off the alarm. At this moment, a voice sounded in my mind. Based on the host's aptitude, the system has formulated a reasonable study schedule. Please adhere to it strictly. I'm about to lose my mind. Last night this voice kept beeping incessantly, saying that a qualified freeloader must maintain good routines as staying up late harms health. Normally I could game all night, but last night I barely managed to stay up till 2 a.m. before sleeping. Whatever, there's no class today anyway. Now it's waking me up at 6 in the morning. How is that reasonable? I closed my eyes trying to go back to sleep, but even with them shut I could still see a timer bar floating above my forehead. 6 to 6:30. Wash up and drink a glass of honey water. Good for gut health, happy all day. That timer bar was still flashing, so bright it made my head ache even with my eyes closed. Unable to sleep, I got up anyway. My movements were a bit loud, earning me a pillow hurled from the neighboring bed by Xiao. Phone how, are you out of your mind? I also felt like I was insane. Like a ghost, I grabbed my basin, towel, and toothbrush and headed to wash up. At our crappy school, the sinks and bathrooms are all shared. At this hour, all the other dorm doors were shut, and it was eerily quiet. A splash of cold water and it was done in 2 minutes. As for honey water, what the hell would boys' dorm have that for? But those words kept flashing before my eyes, like the red notification dot on WeChat, unbearable unless cleared. Then I remembered, last year, during that barbecue trip with the girls' dorm, we'd bought some honey. There might still be some left, though I had no idea where. I crouched under the bed, rummaging around to the tune of several "what a psycho" comments, until I finally unearthed the jar from a pile of shoes, now evaporated to just a sticky residue at the bottom. I rinsed the bottle in the washroom, unscrewed the lid, thankfully not rancid, then scooped a heaping spoonful into my mug. From Lao Zhao's thermos, I poured boiling water, gave it a stir, and finally gulped down my honey concoction. The line of text across my forehead vanished at last. Pure relief flooded through me. Then another line of text popped up, 6:30 to 7 a.m., running. A healthy body leads to a clear mind, ignites fighting spirit, and maintains an uplifting mental state. I couldn't help but complain. After finally surviving until senior year without mandatory morning exercises, now I had to go running? Frustrated, I jumped up, only to be greeted by books, clothes, and socks hurled at me by my roommates, forcing me to slink out the door in defeat. The moment I stepped out of the dormitory, a rush of cold air flooded my nose, instantly sharpening my mind. After just a few steps, I realized that waking up early wasn't so bad after all. It almost felt like gaining half a day more in my life compared to others. I'm 21 this year, average looking, 173 centimeters tall, throw in a couple of shoe lifts and I can fake 180. There weren't many people around. I started running slowly at first, feeling exhilarated, then picked up speed, running faster and faster. The teaching buildings, dormitories, and basketball courts kept receding behind me. The wind carried a scent, more pleasant than usual, sharp and invigorating. The more I ran, the more exhausted I felt. My body wanted to stop, but my mind refused, pushing me onward. My daily habits had become disastrous. Ever since I failed to find an internship during my junior year winter break, I had given up on myself, holed up in the dorm playing video games day after day, often staying up all night. At this moment, while running, my stagnant mind suddenly came to life a little bit. Maybe I should wake up early tomorrow, stop playing games, quit gaming altogether. When I get back, I'll uninstall Honor of Kings and PUBG Mobile, start job hunting, sending out resumes. There's gotta be something out there. Thinking this way and running, it didn't feel so bad anymore. Just then, a voice suddenly rang in my head, alert, a 24K golden single woman detected within 500 meters of the host. Net assets, 16.19 million. Highly educated, 86 points. Above average appearance, 78 points. Host is advised to put in effort. Go for it. My heart skipped a beat. This damn system has some tricks up its sleeve. I, who was about to collapse from exhaustion, suddenly felt pumped. Over 10 million in assets, and smart too? Who cares about looks? I'd take 50 points, let alone 78. At that moment, I swear I was possessed by superhuman strength. I was running like mad. I was charging straight ahead when I spotted someone walking toward me, getting closer and closer. It was an old lady in a white tracksuit, wearing gold-rimmed glasses and sporting a delicate gold anti-loss chain, swaying as she shuffled along at a snail's pace. Seeing me sprinting toward her, the old lady stopped and greeted me. Ah, if it isn't Xiaofeng. How rare to see a youngster up and jogging this early. Good for you. Hello, Professor Liao. Just getting some exercise, I replied, completely bewildered. Professor Liao was a retired Tsinghua-Peking professor who'd been rehired to teach us calculus. She was a stern, impeccably dressed old lady, and she only remembered me because I'd failed her makeup exam twice. After Professor Liao left, I finally spoke up. Explain this to me. Liao Fanghua, net worth 16.19 million, extensive knowledge, 86 points, above average appearance, 78 points, age 69. Her husband passed away 7 years ago. In excellent health with good lifestyle habits, estimated to live at least another 32 years. Based on your current lifestyle, host, you'll likely only survive another 29 years. She could literally outlive you. I was completely speechless. Chapter 2, Where has the time gone? Saying goodbye to the 69-year-old golden bachelorette, I kept running. Little did I expect that my first experience of being a kept man would be so elderly. Earlier, I went to Professor Liao's office to collect materials for my makeup exam and saw a transparent glass cup bubbling on her desk. I thought even professors drank Sprite. But when the bubble stopped, I saw 2 sets of dentures soaking inside. Professor Liao elegantly picked them up, first the lower set, then the upper, popping them into her mouth to instantly transform back into a sweet old lady with perfectly aligned pearly whites. Even ignoring the dentures, calculus is still impossible. I shudder recalling gentle Professor Liao's question through those teeth. Darling, if function y equals f, u, is differentiable at u, and function u equals g, x, is differentiable at x, is the composite function y equals f, g, x, differentiable at x? I broke into a run, cold sweat breaking out all over my body, goosebumps rising. It was terrifying. After running for quite a while, the lingering fear finally began to subside. Thinking about it, this damn system is actually pretty impressive. From what I know so far, it can detect wealthy and beautiful women, aka sugar mamas, within at least a 500-meter radius around me. No restrictions on assets, IQ, appearance, or age. It basically lists all potential targets, which is a pretty useful feature. With that thought, I felt motivated again and figured I could keep running. In such a big school, it's impossible that there are only elderly women, right? Unconsciously, I started heading in the direction of the girls' dormitory. Halfway there, it suddenly struck me that lurking around the girls' dorm early in the morning was kind of creepy, so I turned back. What can I say? I'm an otaku at heart, always starting with grand ambitions, only to bail halfway. As I ran along, I unexpectedly caught sight of a real beauty, a genuine knockout. Walking toward me was Qin Xiu, the campus belle of the finance department next door, carrying a Chanel bag. Just hearing about that bag made me realize its worth could cover my living expenses for an entire semester. Qin Xiu was notoriously aloof and hard to pursue, remaining single all along. She was a local of Jiangning, and her father was the branch manager of Xingye Bank on Longshan Road. I knew all these details because I was secretly one of her many backup admirers in the so-called reserve tire squad. Just as I was about to cross paths with her, the system stayed silent. Unable to resist, I asked, "Hey, what's up? Am I not worthy?" The system replied, after thorough evaluation, Qin Xiu has had a boyfriend for 3 years. A self-respecting freeloader only leeches off single sugar mamas. You don't qualify. I was instantly speechless. As I brushed past department belle Qin Xiu, certain realizations suddenly dawned on me. Early morning, returning to the dormitory from outside, her white dress still slightly wrinkled, much like my crumpled heart. The department beauty didn't greet me, and I didn't greet her. Then I continued running. Along the way, I saw several elderly men practicing Tai Chi, a group of aunties doing square dancing, another group of aunties dancing opposite them, breakfast stall owners adding coal to their stoves, and vegetable vendors watering the produce in their baskets. I felt like I was about to die from exhaustion. My legs didn't feel like my own anymore, I could barely lift them. Before my eyes flashed the line, 6:30 to 7 o'clock running, a healthy body clears the mind, fuels ambition, and maintains an upward striving mental state. The screen is still blinking non-stop. I've only been running for 30 minutes. Yet why does it feel like forever without end? It's so hard, I really don't want to run anymore. But the moment I remember the damn system saying I'd only live for 29 more years, being 21 now, that'd make just 50 total, dying 19 years younger than Professor Lia was now, I shudder again. Guess I have to keep running, keep going. More people gradually appear around me, and the system stays quiet. Even if it chirps again, I won't pay it any mind. This is exactly the time when the school's professors come out for morning exercise. If another 70-year-old professor shows up, I won't be able to take it. I don't even know how I finished the run. Toward the end, I just went numb, mechanically lifting my legs and moving forward, waiting for those blinking words to finally vanish from sight. The moment those words disappeared, I collapsed straight onto the ground, feeling like I was about to die, completely exhausted. Those 30 minutes of running felt like several hours. Lying on the sports field, I stared at the sky so blue, the clouds so white, gasping for breath, desperately thirsty, my throat burning. I thought to myself, next time I go for a run, I must bring water. Lost in thought, the system's voice suddenly echoed in my mind again. Congratulations, host, on completing your first fitness exercise. A strong physique is the foundation of freeloading success. Keep up the good work. Gasping like a dying dog, I wheezed, I can't take it. No more freeloading for me. The system replied, host, though your innate talent is poor, your determination is admirable. The system just activated a beginner-level item for you, the Where Did the Time Go buff, which enhances training effectiveness, also known as the Time Expander. Your 30-minute run delivered the physical toll and benefits of 120 minutes, hence the extreme exhaustion. The beginner-level item Where Has the Time Gone gives the host 4 times the normal duration, striving to help the host become a qualified soft rice man as soon as possible. Only then did I understand. I thought my body was just exhausted, but it turns out I'd essentially been running for 2 hours straight. What madness! At this revelation, my hands started cramping from swinging them too vigorously while running. I could barely lift them now. A gentle breeze passed by, sending chills through my sweaty body, especially around the inner thighs. I glanced at my hands, then down between my legs, and after a moment's thought, asked sheepishly, so about that little item Where Has the Time Gone, can it be used any time? Like, say, during that kind of moment? The system replied, host's expression is unclear, cannot analyze. I made a suggestive pumping motion with my hand and grinned weirdly. After a long silence, the system finally said, overindulgence leads to ashes flying and smoke vanishing. I was utterly speechless. At this point, the system spoke again, host has earnestly completed the exercise task arranged by the system for the first time. As a reward, 1 scar will be removed. An outstanding gigolo must possess a flawless, pristine body. Please keep up the good work. I thought to myself, I've kept myself pure, where do I have scars? I pulled out my phone, turned on the front camera, and saw an ugly guy covered in black spots. Then I noticed the scar from when I fell off my bike as a kid near my left eyebrow slowly fading away, and the eyebrow gradually growing back to fill in. My face even became slightly more symmetrical. Shocked, I blurted out, woof. Then, another line of text appeared before my eyes. 7 to 8 o'clock, breakfast, prevents gallstones and kidney stones effortlessly. A man without stones is a healthy man. With a deadpan expression, I asked, do I have stones? The system replied, according to the scan, the host's body is in a sub-healthy state. Currently, there are 46 stones, 2 regular stones, 3 small stones, and 41 pre-small stones. I was just about to sit up when I heard this, staggered, and fell back down. The system added, host, work hard and you'll have a chance to obtain a beginner-level gadget, egg hits rock, rock crumbles. A fact, as long as the host eats an egg, they can expel a gallstone. A man without gallstones is a healthy man. Keep it up, host. I shivered again, finally standing up to go eat. Trembling, I walked to Student Street. There's a particularly delicious noodle soup shop there that I usually can't wake up early enough for. By the time I crave it, they're often sold out. I've even thought before that if I graduate from university, what I might miss most could be the proprietress of this noodle soup shop. She's very fair-skinned and well-endowed. This shop is utterly unremarkable, not even a proper signboard, simply called Neon Sienhu, noodle soup, yet the aroma is intoxicating. I couldn't help but ask again, can I use the where to spend time prop while eating? The system replied, overeating harms the stomach and leads to weight gain. Obesity is the greatest enemy of a gigolo, so using props during meals is not recommended. I walked up to the proprietress and addressed the noodle soup stall. Boss, I'd like a bowl of Neon Sienhu with fried dough sticks, pork intestines, lean meat, greens, oyster mushrooms, fish slices, and, what's that over there? The proprietress said, "This is beef, these are shrimp." I responded, "Add them all in." She laughed and said, "Such a spirited young man. That'll be 24 yuan in total." I scanned the price with WeChat, secretly delighted. Could fixing my eyebrows really make me handsome? After devouring a supersized deluxe bowl of oyster vermicelli, I finally felt alive again. Since I was out unusually early, I grabbed takeout of the plain version, no toppings, for my dorm mates. It was just past 7 o'clock, with few students on the road. Our bottom-tier second-tier college had hardly any diligent scholars. Most early risers were postgraduate hopefuls, though some might be like department beauty Qinxiao returning to change dresses. As I walked, realizing I'd completed 3 tasks for just 1 reward, I asked, "No prizes for waking up and eating?" After a long pause, the system's monotone voice responded, "Given the host's enthusiastic task completion, and to encourage progress toward becoming an exemplary kept man, the host is awarded 2 scar removals." I took out my phone and turned on the front camera to check my face. Nothing had changed. "What got removed?" I asked. The system replied, "On the upper left side of the host's buttocks, there were 2 small scars. The system has removed them, restoring the host's left buttock to its pristine whiteness." I was speechless. As a kid, I must have jumped off a sand pile and landed on a rock, bleeding, but who cares about scars on their butt? And this damn system could actually see my ass. Thunderstruck, I returned to my dorm and stared blankly at the new line of text flashing before me. 8 to 9 o'clock. Study English. Learning is the ladder of human progress. More learning means more ladders, and with enough ladders, you can effortlessly climb to the feet of a wealthy woman. First time hearing studying described in such materialistic terms. Digging out my English textbook from the corner, I shouldered my backpack and headed straight for the library. After all, I'm still a student, might as well start studying properly. I strode with vigor and pride, feeling completely justified at the thought of studying immediately. This was probably the cowardice of a fourth-year student afraid to face society yet fearful of wasting time. So I chose to study, regardless of whether it was too late. I decided to go to the periodicals reading room, where it was quiet and free from distractions. The morning sun bathed the library in warmth, and several golden characters above the entrance gleamed. Books are the ladder of human progress. I walked into the library, step after step, 1, 2, 3, 4. I flipped open my junior year English textbook, so new and unfamiliar, yet for the first time ever, I truly focused and absorbed its contents. I've never been particularly talented. I remember my teacher once saying, "A bad pen is better than a good memory." So I took out a pen and began copying the text. Stroke by careful stroke, I wrote with sincerity, and my restless, floating heart seemed to finally settle firmly in place this moment. Waking up early for a jog and having breakfast left me feeling physically energized and mentally sharp, making studying a breeze. Sunlight streamed through the window onto my back as I sat upright at my desk. At this moment, the words before me appeared clear, bright, yet softly comforting. My schedule read, 8 to 9 o'clock English study. Learning is the ladder of human progress. Keep it up. The wall clock in the reading room showed 8:41 as I continued copying. The vocabulary from junior year English textbook aligned with 6th level difficulty. Impress, impress, VT make deep impression, strict, demanding, severe, loudly, ADV at high volume. My lips silently formed the words while my hand kept writing, pages filling unconsciously. Though study brought no immediate rewards, it gave me profound satisfaction, unlike gaming or scrolling through Douyin where laughter masked an underlying restlessness. Morning productivity truly lives up to its reputation. I felt like I'd been studying for ages, yet my mind wasn't fatigued at all. Instead, I was brimming with passion. Sunlight crept up onto the desk from behind me. After copying a full page of vocabulary, I paused to spin my pen. It dropped after 2 rotations. I picked it up and kept trying. Having silently reviewed the page twice, I turned to the next page and continued writing. When the clock struck 9 o'clock, I exhaled in relief, collapsing into my chair with complete relaxation, my hands aching and my throat parched. Congratulations, host. By utilizing the "Where did the time go" buff item, you've completed your English learning task equivalent to 4 hours of study effectiveness. Rome wasn't built in a day. With real skills, even eating soft rice is justified. It's never too late to learn. Keep striving, host. My mind went blank from exhaustion. I couldn't muster the energy to speak or even rant. The voice continued, "Host has completed the first learning task with outstanding performance. Reward granted, primary clear voice buff, 1 day. Effect, makes people crave your next sentence after hearing you speak." Was my original voice that unpleasant? I couldn't help snapping back. The host's original voice tends to be overly loud, with unstable breath support, awkward transitions, and unconfident endings. Every sentence sounds like self-doubt, hardly inviting for listeners. The host can also train their voice independently. After speaking, record yourself, listen repeatedly, then practice corrections. A competent soft rice man must have pleasant, charming speech. Keep going, host. This makes so much sense yet feels so frustrating. What normal person would practice speaking like this? Turns out being a kept man isn't easy either. A new schedule appears before me. 9 to 9:30 eat yogurt and fruit. Balancing work and rest is the basic virtue of a qualified kept man. These are all missions. An inexplicable sense of grateful happiness wells up inside me. I decide to borrow a book before going to eat. Arriving at the second floor borrowing room, I'm greeted by a middle-aged man guarding the entrance. Handing over my student ID, I say, "Teacher, I'd like to borrow a book." The moment I speak, I startle myself, though the voice is still mine. It carries more strength now, spoken with conviction rather than hesitation. The middle-aged man said, "What did you say? Could you repeat that?" "Teacher, I'd like to borrow some books." "Sure thing." The man enthusiastically took my student ID, scanned it, and let me in. I'd only taken 2 steps when the man followed me and asked, "Classmate, what books are you looking for?" "Let me help you find them." "Teacher, just any book on social sciences would be fine." Looking up at the social sciences sign, I quickly replied. Normally this kind of response would make me flustered and guilty, but now, with my buff activated, I spoke clearly and matter-of-factly. "There you go, take a look around. If you can't find anything, you can also check the computer by the entrance." "Okay, thank you, teacher." The man then asked about my major and graduation year, mentioned knowing our homeroom teacher, and even brought up the peach blossoms in my hometown. I inexplicably started chatting with him, and only realized something was off when he kept wanting to hear more after every sentence I said, prolonging the conversation endlessly. I quickly shut my mouth and pretended to look for books until he finally left. System, explain this. Primary clear voice buff. One day, effect, makes people want to hear your next sentence after you speak. Host, perhaps you've never been truly listened to before, so this feels a bit unfamiliar. An excellent freeloader must dare to speak up, voice their demands, and have them accepted. Host, please practice speaking more. At 21 years old, I just discovered I didn't even know how to talk properly. I casually borrowed a copy of Gut, the Inside Story, handed it to the teacher at the door, smiled slightly without saying a word, and hurried off. I needed some yogurt and fruit. Leaving the library, I stopped by a convenience store where I saw yogurt priced at 3.5 yuan. There were 3 tiers of pre-cut fruit trays, tomato and cucumber for 6 yuan, apple, pear, and banana for 8 yuan, and dragon fruit and pineapple for 10 yuan. I usually avoid these, thinking they're too girly, but my roommate Chao often buys them. I grabbed the yogurt and the tomato cucumber tray and went to the checkout. A young girl behind the counter was skewering radishes for the Odin pot when I called out, "Excuse me, checkout." The round-faced, freckled girl immediately looked up and asked, "What did you say?" "Say it again." I just waved the items in my hand. After finishing the yogurt and fruit, an old acne scar on my chin disappeared. A new timeline notification popped up, 9:30 to 10:30 reading, "Books are the building blocks of the soul." Hugo. Pretty faces are a dime a dozen, but an interesting soul is 1 in a million. To be an outstanding kept man, you must cultivate an interesting soul. Read more, scroll less. I looked at the newly borrowed book Gut, the inside story of our body's most underrated organ, a super organ underestimated by humans, and wondered, can reading this make my soul more interesting? Fortunately, the book has lots of illustrations and is quite fun. If I had borrowed a social science book, I probably wouldn't have been able to get through it. After eating, I took a stroll and returned to the library's periodical reading room. I pulled out the newly borrowed Gut, the inside story of our body's most underrated organ, but, before even opening it, unconsciously reached for my phone. Well fed and idle, I was about to launch a game when it struck me, no, it's reading time. I quickly closed it. I opened the book and had only read the title of Preface 1 when my phone rang. Instinctively, I checked WeChat. A roommate had transferred money for my Anxiano, a Fujianese noodle soup. I clicked on the red envelope and casually opened my social media feed. The first post was from a headphone-selling influencer, and the second was a selfie of Lumin, a girl from my class, hugging a stuffed doll. The beauty filter was way too strong, it slimmed her down by at least 30 pounds. The chubby girl, standing barely 5 feet tall and weighing over 130 pounds, had somehow been edited into a frail-looking 90-pound waif. I reluctantly gave her a like. Xiao, my roommate, had a major crush on her, and there was already a comment from him below the post, "You look great." Smiling face with smiling eyes. As I was about to keep scrolling, the line of text before me started blinking aggressively, much like those incessant ads on the massage chairs at the mall. They only stop blaring once you pay up, and only then does the actual massage begin. The time bar above my head now felt like those looped advertisements. Silently, I put away my phone. Study. Time to study. To be honest, by my senior year, I rarely sat down to read quietly. Actually, it wasn't just senior year, it felt like I hadn't properly read a book since starting college. Don't know why, but I'd become inexplicably restless. Our bottom-tier second-tier university had a joint institute, where we often shared classes. The joint institute admitted students at third-tier cutoff scores but carried a second-tier designation, the only difference being their exorbitantly higher tuition fees. Our semester fees were just over 3,000 yuan, while theirs were over 17,000 yuan. A single year of their tuition could cover our entire 4 years with money to spare. During freshman year, we used to look down on joint institute students, considering them academic slackers, basking in that innate superiority of higher entrance scores. But by sophomore and junior year, we suddenly realized most girls in our class had become their girlfriends. By senior year, things got even worse. Students at Union College generally came from well-off families, so arranging internships was a piece of cake for them. With connections in all kinds of companies, my confidence was utterly shattered, and I felt thoroughly stifled inside. I wasted over 3 years like this, rarely experiencing moments like now where I could quietly read alone. Seeing the book's title, I couldn't help but laugh again. Finally mustering some motivation to improve myself, only to end up reading, "What the hell is this?" Still, the book was surprisingly easy to get into. Reading extracurricular material went so much faster than studying English. The moment I opened it, I found it genuinely interesting. The more I read, the more hooked I became. Human saliva contains a pain-relieving component more potent than morphine. This substance wasn't discovered until 2006 and was named opioorphan. Felt like I was learning something valuable. As a kid, when I scraped my hand, Mom would spit on it to heal it. Now that memory overflows with maternal love. Turns out there's actual science behind it. That's some legit knowledge. Saliva can disinfect, so drooling while sleeping can actually prevent bad breath. Many people wake up with bad breath or a sore throat because there was no saliva to rinse away bacteria throughout the night, allowing them to thrive. That's why it's important to brush before bed and after waking up. I found myself inexplicably amused, as if I'd fallen into an ocean of knowledge, where even casually absorbing a bit of information felt nourishing. Bad breath might also be caused by your tonsils. If you've already cleaned your tongue and teeth but still have bad breath, check your tonsils. They might be hiding some extremely smelly little stones. Clearing those out will make the bad breath vanish in seconds. Dajio in the dorm was a chatterbox, always rambling about something. But his breath, every time he spoke, I couldn't help but take a step back. Should I suggest this to Dajiao? I exhaled into my own palm and sniffed. Not stinky, but with a faint tomato aftertaste. Straight face. I kept reading while jotting notes in my notebook. After all, the book was borrowed, so I couldn't write in it. I suddenly feel like my brain is filled with lots of useless trivia. After consuming Lactobacillus casei shirota, a common bacteria found in yogurt, for 3 weeks, 1/3 of the test subjects reported feeling gradually happier, shifting from melancholy to joy, and that's just from ordinary supermarket yogurt. Instantly, that yogurt and fruit timeline moment just now felt surprisingly sophisticated. When the library clock struck 10:30, the timeline before my eyes slowly faded away. To my surprise, I was left wanting more. I even checked the reference materials at the end of the book to see what else I could read. My mind was buzzing with exhilaration, utterly liberated, feeling infinitely sharper today than yesterday. Though utterly drained now, there's this thrilling afterglow that lingers deliciously. Host has proactively completed reading tasks. Reward granted, random minor perk from the book, fresh breath, 24 hours. Congratulations on inching closer to becoming an outstanding kept man. Whenever you speak, your words will carry the aroma of roasted peanuts. No need to worry about garlic or leaks before kissing. I exhaled experimentally. Sure enough, the crispy fragrance of roasted peanuts wafted out. But what if they're allergic to peanuts? No need for host to fret over imaginary troubles. Once you've actually kissed someone, you'll understand the peanut aroma can't trigger allergies. If they're allergic, it just means they can't eat peanuts but desperately wish they could. You'd be their peanut-delivering, non-allergenic hero. I took out my phone and sent a message in the class group chat. Who's allergic to peanuts? Chapter 6, 1mm. The senior year class group chat might as well be a graveyard. Freshman year was peak activity with boys and girls subtly circling each other. By sophomore year, pairing was basically complete. Junior year saw reallocation. Senior year meant final separation. After a long while, my roommate Lao Shao replied, "I might be allergic to peanuts. Last time I ate some, I got a pimple on my chin." Lao Shao probably felt awkward seeing a roommate ignored in the chat and tossed this reply as a courtesy. I replied, "Thanks." The thought of kissing pimples. Ugh, no, the focus isn't the acne, it's old Shao. Ugh ugh ugh. A new time slot popped up before my eyes. 10:30 to 11:30 swimming, the best body sculpting exercise, improves lung capacity, boosts your mood. Go ahead, host, flaunt yourself without shame. This is one of the top 10 best places to find a meal ticket. Our school has a swimming pool. United College is flush with cash, loaded with resources. But I never liked swimming. Wearing trunks always felt no different from being naked. Way too embarrassing. Today I decided to challenge myself. Normally at this hour, I'd just be waking up, starting to salivate to deal with morning breath. But today, the system divided my time into detailed segments, making it feel like I suddenly had more hours in the day. I walked to the swimming pool entrance where they were selling swim trunks and goggles. I bought the cheapest pair of trunks for 14 yuan, while the goggles were a bit pricier at 26 yuan. I'm slightly nearsighted, 200 degrees in one eye and 250 in the other. That's one of the reasons I don't enjoy swimming much. Since regular goggles don't correct vision, wearing them basically turns me half blind. The changing room had a huge mirror. I turned sideways, stuck out my butt, and checked, no scars left there anymore, just smooth, pale skin. A guy who walked by gave me a look like I was some kind of pervert, but I just ignored him. After putting on my trunks and stepping out of the changing area, I immediately heard lively chatter. The men's changing area exit was right next to the women's, and just as I walked out, a girl emerged wearing a particularly flashy swimsuit. I stole a quick glance but didn't dare look too closely. I could feel her eyes on me, so I quickly walked away, my back chilled with unease. I can swim, but my form isn't standard, it's the doggy paddle, relying entirely on vigorous splashing to gain speed. After completing one lap, I'm completely exhausted. The workout is absolutely intense. I walked over to a ladder by the pool to get in the water, but then a woman in a revealing bikini approached, the real deal, with triangular cut bottoms, a pale white belly, and curves I didn't dare linger on. Flustered and without thinking, I plunged into the water with a loud splash. The water's freezing cold. Goosebumps instantly covered my body. The splash I made when jumping in was huge. The girls thought I did it on purpose and cursed at me. Psycho. Her voice was crisp, much nicer sounding than when my roommate yells at me. Once in the water, I immediately felt secure, enveloped by its embrace. I even jumped up and boldly shouted back, sorry. The water was way too cold. I glanced at my Casio watch, waterproof, finally proving useful today. It was already 11, only half an hour left. I dunked my head underwater and started swimming. I've got countless flaws, but one of my few virtues is that once I start something, I finish it. Whether I can come back tomorrow is uncertain, but I'll definitely get it done today. After floundering around on my own for a while, the previously silent system suddenly announced, authentic human simulation navigation learning activated. Please correct your swimming posture, breathing, and power application points. Sharpening your axe won't delay your wood chopping. Keep it up, host. To my astonishment, dashed lines appeared around my body indicating deviations. Even my kicks were tracked, as if subjected to some peculiar pressure. The moment I applied force correctly, the pressure vanished. This was unbelievably advanced. I swam continuously while adjusting my posture, moving with increasing fluidity. The strokes became notably easier than before, swifter and more effortless, as if some meridians had suddenly been unblocked, bringing unexpected clarity. When the time bar before my eyes disappeared, I found myself reluctant to stop. Coupled with the where did the time go prop buff, which quadrupled my training duration, I reveled in a guilty pleasure akin to cheating. This suits me perfectly. I'm not particularly talented, but with extra time and effort, I can always do well, without any guilt. Exhausted, I sat groaning on the steps by the pool. Nearby, several girls in swimsuits walked past, swaying their hips. I watched them utterly unfazed, not the least bit worried about any awkwardness with my swim trunks. I was simply too tired to move. Right then, the system's voice rang in my mind. Host has actively completed the assigned training tasks, exceeding expectations. Reward, 1 millimeter growth, applicable to any part of the body. I marveled again, this damn system actually delivers. Without hesitation, I declared, height. I choose height. Grow 1 millimeter. The system continued, host, won't you reconsider? Once chosen, it can't be undone. Most people would select a special part of the human body, not reconsidering. I said firmly, I'm a lone wolf, playing by myself, what does size matter anyway? The system explained, special parts refer to eyes, eyelashes, fingers. After becoming a man with a net height of 173.1 centimeters, I strode out with the presence of someone 185 centimeters tall. Emerging from swimming, though physically exhausted, my spirit was exceptionally uplifted. That sensation was particularly exhilarating, filling me with a grand ambition that the world was vast and full of possibilities. Working out feels amazing, but of course the rewards feel even better. I asked the system, what will the reward be after all the scars are gone? The system replied, host need not worry. From head to toe, including but not limited to scars, acne marks, dark spots, and enlarged pores, you have a total of 233 imperfections. Please complete tasks diligently to achieve a flawless, pure white body as soon as possible, become an outstanding kept man, and rise to the pinnacle of life. I was utterly speechless. At that moment, I felt an overwhelming urge to start tasks immediately. The time bar suddenly seemed so friendly and adorable, displaying 11:30 to 12:30 mealtime. Lunch should be hearty, fueling you for the whole day. Eager to study as I was, seeing that today's task was simply eating left me pleasantly surprised. Having already overspent today, I chose to eat at the school cafeteria for lunch. The food wasn't great, but it was cheap and filling. I ordered 3 portions of rice with 2 meat dishes, 2 vegetable dishes, and 1 soup, which cost 15.5 yuan in total, usually enough for a 3-person fast food meal. I ate every last bite, nearly licking the plate clean, and as usual, packed leftovers for my roommates. Old Zhang was out, so just old Xiao and Dichao remained, 2 portions to go. Back at the dorm, the moment I opened the door, a strong odor hit me. Normally, I wouldn't notice it much, but maybe because I exercised today, my sense of smell became sharper, a mix of stinky feet and food smells. I went straight to open the windows after entering, keeping both the door and windows open for cross-ventilation. Old Xiao and Xiao were still gaming, each glued to their computers, engrossed in an intense match, barely noticing me. I had just sat down when I saw the new entry, 12:30 to 13:30, organizing and tidying up, essential basic skills for a model husband and father. A clean and tidy environment keeps people happy all day. I felt a bit exasperated. Usually, everyone in the dorm is lazy, except for Xiao Rui, the oldest at 23, who is a bit more diligent. When things get unbearably dirty, old Xiao takes the initiative to clean up. The system then said, activate the beginner-level tidying skill buff, tidy up your living space, organize and reorganize, clean and cleanse, making everything fresh and new. What woman wouldn't like you then? I thought to myself, don't lie to me, I've been single for all my 21 years. But even tidying up comes with a buff now? My curiosity got the better of me, and my hands started moving almost on their own. I started by taking out the trash, takeout boxes, plastic bags, tissues were everywhere. Just then, Lao Xiao and De Qiao finished their game and sat facing each other to eat, even sharing dishes from the same plate. De Qiao held her straw with a delicate, pinky-raised grip as she sipped from her cup, while Lao Xiao downed his drink in one go. Both stared at me with bewildered expressions, thinking, what's gotten into Lao Si today? Lao Xiao pulled out his phone to film my possessed-looking state, planning to send the footage to Lao Yang to figure out what was going on and later to show me too, so I could see what kind of madness I was caught in. Throughout the meal, his phone stayed on, recording. Ignoring my roommates, I kept cleaning meticulously. Books were sorted and shelved, the blanket folded neatly, clothes categorized and stacked, and every item on the desk put away in its proper place. I work with great diligence. In Lao Xiao's phone footage, my hair is neither too long nor too short, and while I'm not exceptionally handsome, my features are neat and clean, meticulous in everything I do. The boys' dormitory is overwhelmingly cluttered, especially those of senior students. Shoes and socks are scattered everywhere, along with year-old honey jars, skewers from barbecues, clothes, books, cups, broken bowls, and drink bottles. One corner even had moss growing in it. I used a knife to scrape off that moss and placed it in the broken bowl. With a little arranging, it unexpectedly turned into a miniature potted landscape. Watching someone organize is incredibly satisfying, transforming chaos into neat order. The footage almost looks like it's sped up as basins and buckets are aligned uniformly, toothbrushes and toothpaste all face the same direction, clothes are arranged from light to dark, and books are sorted by category. The most impressive organizing technique isn't about tidying up luxury apartments or mansions, those places already have great foundations. Being high-end and spotless is just expected. This dorm room of about 20 square meters contained 4 bunk beds, 4 cabinets, 4 desks, with 2 additional desks pushed together in the middle forming a common area, for chairs, countless books, piles of clothes, sneakers. At first, old Xiao would prop his phone on a shelf to film during meals. Later, after finishing eating, he suddenly found the scene before him so striking that he actively started following with his phone to capture it. Big Joe felt too embarrassed to play games and couldn't find a way to help, so he took charge of taking out the trash. Good lord, our single dorm room actually produced over 20 bags of garbage. I worked like a magician, transforming our dorm room overnight. Every item found its perfect place, easily accessible with symmetrical colors that brought visual comfort. Perfectly organized, I stood at the dorm entrance snapping a photo with my phone. It could easily pass as a national model dorm, crowded with belongings yet impeccably tidy, a paradise for the obsessive-compulsive. After finishing, I went to the washroom to splash my face. Looking up, I saw Lao Xiao still filming me. I flicked some water his way. Scram! Don't use your girl-charming tricks on me. Lao Xiao chuckled, pocketing his phone. Lao Si, I realized you're exceptionally photogenic, even your voice is captivating. Melting, absolutely melting, he teased. I'm completely exhausted, went straight to bed when I got back, and soon the sound of snoring filled the room. The time display in front of me glowed softly in a warm yellow hue, 1330 to 1400 hours, midday nap, a quick snooze to recharge for the whole day. Roommates Xiao Lao and De Qiao saw me passed out as soon as I hit the bed. Completely puzzled, they couldn't figure out what had gotten into me, what kind of shock I'd experienced that made me crash so hard. The dorm was fresh and cozy now, and they moved around cautiously, instinctively feeling that gaming in such a beautiful setup while looking completely wrecked just didn't feel right. The two of them snapped several photos of the dorm's current state and sent them to Lao Yang, who was out. Even Lao Yang was stunned. Wait, is this really our dorm? Xiao Lao also took a photo of me sound asleep and shared it in the group chat. Look, he worked hard and just collapsed into sleep. No idea what's up, maybe something happened back at Lao Si's place? I haven't heard of that. De Qiao was puzzled. Lao Yang also sent a shaking head emoji. But Lao Xiao, you've really honed your skills at taking photos and videos for girls. Even Lao Si looks handsome in your shots, with such a pleasant voice, and that sleeping posture is downright enchanting. When I get back, you should take a set of photos for me to post on Douyin. Me too, De Qiao chimed in. Lao Xiao replied with a single word, scram. Lao Xiao lay on his bed, flipping through the photos and videos he had just taken. They did seem quite good, oddly satisfying, especially when comparing the before and after states of the dorm room. Lao Xiao was a professional simp, flattering everyone without discrimination. He even jokingly called himself a sea dog. He often helped girls edit videos. Throughout his 4 years in college, he didn't learn a thing from his major, but he somehow mastered this skill. Suddenly feeling inspired, he got up, carefully assembled the videos and photos, and started editing them seriously. And you know what? The result was actually pretty impressive. He also has a TikTok account. He edited a caption, "My angel roommate, #organization expert #," then paired it with the video he just edited and posted it. It's basically the same routine stuff girls like: edited video clips, close-up shots of my face, me working, me washing my face, me sleeping, before and after comparisons of the dorm. No major changes were made. Anyway, girls seem to really like it. After posting, listening to my snoring, he got sleepy too and dozed off. De Chao also fell asleep, still with a face mask on. At this moment, dorm 402 was quiet, clean, and cozy. The moss on the chipped bowl on the table by the window stretched out in tender green, displaying a unique beauty. There are no useless things, only things placed in the wrong position. Chapter 8, Memory Capsule. At 1400 hours in the afternoon, my phone alarm rang on schedule. I opened my eyes. This half-hour nap, combined with the "where did the time go" buff, felt equivalent to 2 hours of sleep. I was utterly exhausted, having never exerted myself so strenuously before, so I fell asleep the moment I collapsed. This sleep made up for all the rest I missed last night from staying up gaming. Now my mind is unusually clear, and gazing at the new timeline before me, I actually feel a sense of warmth and lightness. The timeline showed 14 to 1500 hours for studying accounting, with a note appended: "A man who knows accounting is the most charming. What sugar mommy wouldn't want to pamper an adorable bean who understands accounting?" Though the note was a bit outrageous, the study schedule beforehand seemed quite solid to me. Most of the time, it's not that I don't want to put in the effort, but rather that I don't know how to. I dug out my accounting textbooks from freshman and sophomore years. There were no such courses in junior and senior years, so I'd pretty much returned all that knowledge to the professors. Initially, I planned to study in the dorm. After tidying up, the room wasn't unbearable to stay in, but the bed was right there, the computer within reach, and my phone plugged into the charger nearby. Distractions came easily. One moment I wanted to game, the next I craved a nap, and soon enough I couldn't resist scrolling through my phone. So I slung my backpack over my shoulder and slipped quietly out of the dorm. My 2 roommates were still fast asleep. They'd been gaming well past midnight the night before. Gaming can surprisingly be quite a workout. I randomly picked a classroom near the dorm building. The afternoon lecture hall was quiet and nearly empty. Rows of desks, bright windows, and the lush greenery of tree leaves outside. It was picturesque enough for a casual snapshot. I never realized how beautiful the campus and classrooms could be until now. Last winter break, I went job hunting for an internship and stayed temporarily for a few days at the apartment my cousin rented. My cousin was always the pride of our family, high salary, graduated from a prestigious university. I used to idolize him, but when I arrived at his place, I was stunned. It was a semi-basement unit with windows facing the street that couldn't be opened, reeking of stale air, only letting in a sliver of light. It was dark and damp inside, and my cousin was so busy he left early and returned late. I lasted only a week before fleeing in defeat. During Chinese New Year, seeing my cousin dressed sharply and looking polished, I couldn't even bring myself to meet his eyes. I found a seat by the window and sat down, where I could look up and see the big tree outside. I opened my textbook and started relearning from scratch. Most of the knowledge had slipped my mind, but as I read, it slowly came back to me. I really had paid attention in class once upon a time. The study time passed swiftly, slipping away from my pen tip, yet my heart felt particularly at peace. After the noon break, my mind was clear, and my memory worked even better. I've grown quite accustomed to this "where did the time go" buff now. Squeezing in extra hours for study and exercise compared to others, it feels remarkably empowering. Like playing a video game, when you're unfamiliar with a character, playing more rounds and reflecting carefully eventually makes you better. Getting into a bottom-tier second-tier college made me realize I'm no genius. Only diligence could compensate for my shortcomings. My only virtue is perseverance. To others, it might seem I studied for less than an hour, but in reality, I spent nearly 4 hours finishing most of the first-year accounting textbook. Surprisingly efficient. At this moment, the glossary entries before my eyes vanished. I stood up and stretched my legs, gazing out the window at the big tree. Under it, a man and a woman were chatting. As they talked, the girl suddenly hit the guy, but he shamelessly pulled her into a hug, then even lowered his head to kiss her. How outrageous! Broad daylight and they're doing such things. Too bad the tree's thick foliage blocked my view. I couldn't see clearly. I felt a pang of envy. I'd never kissed a girl before, not counting that incident in kindergarten. When I first started university, I'd mustered some courage, but never acted on it. My dorm mate Lao Yang had gone through several girlfriends already, a sophomore senior in freshman year, a sophomore classmate in sophomore year, a sophomore junior in junior year, and a sophomore freshman in senior year. All my knowledge about intimacy came from Lao Yang's lectures. Pitifully, I had all these theoretical insights but no practical opportunities. At that moment, the system announced, host has proactively studied accounting and quickly grasped key concepts, rewarding host with one basic memory capsule. Consuming this capsule will increase memory by 100%, duration, 1 day. Then a green capsule appeared in my hand, looking like a cold pill. I couldn't help asking, is it addictive? What's in it? Any side effects? The system answered mechanically, non-addictive. Ingredients, egg yolk, pig brain, peanuts, walnuts. Side effects, 30% reduction in desire. I couldn't help but wonder, could these things really improve memory? I suspected the system was pulling my leg. But as for the side effect of reducing desire, it didn't bother me one bit. After all, I'm a single dog. Jerking off less might even save me some energy. I decisively pried open the capsule to inspect its contents, tiny white pellets emitting a pungent antiseptic odor. Still, I swallowed them with water I'd brought along. The water came from a thermos I'd bought freshman year, which I'd filled with boiling water during my lunch break cleaning. The capsule dissolved instantly upon touching my tongue, and after consuming it, I didn't feel anything particularly unusual. Suddenly, a new prompt flashed before my eyes. 15 to 1600 hours study English, master a language to access the world of knowledge it presents, broaden your horizons and become a cultured, substantive freeloader. For the first time today, I finally understood how straight-A students must feel fatigued from math. Just switch to English. And at last, I grasped the difference between smart people and idiots. What used to take me 10 repetitions to memorize a word now only required 4 or 5 before it was etched clearly in my mind. Holy shit, this feeling is incredible. No wonder top students love studying, they've got different foundational equipment. Meanwhile, Lao Xiao's Douyin post inexplicably went viral, possibly because the platform happened to be promoting a little organization guru column at the time, and somehow his video got pushed. The likes skyrocketed from 200 to 600, 800, then quickly jumped to 2,000, 5,000, 14,000, in no time surpassing 20,000. Not just the likes, the comments exploded too. Some said so satisfying, extremely satisfying. Others praised, though the guy isn't super handsome, he's got serious style, or my dream organization guy. Still others wrote, I want a roommate like this, we'll pay big bucks for such a roommate. Or want to wake up next to this guy, his sleeping face looks inexplicably warm. Of course, there were also some negative comments mixed in, like, they're using beauty filters, the real person must be super ugly, case closed, or this has to be fake. There's no way such a messy place could be cleaned up in just 1 hour. Organization experts like this in our area make over 20 grand a day, why would they tidy up your dorm? How naive. Probably just another influencer persona promotion, or the voice must be fake, that's a voice actor, right? I got addicted after just one sentence. Please recommend me that voice actor, thanks. Obviously staged for show. There's no raw footage on TikTok these days, everything's done by a team. But most comments were along the lines of, so satisfying, extremely satisfying, I couldn't stop watching it on loop, a godsend for OCD sufferers, already set the organized dorm as my screensaver, I really want to visit your dorm, extremely satisfying. In the classroom, I sat by the window, carefully copying English notes with my pen. Every now and then, I'd smile at the corners of my mouth, feeling like a genius had possessed me, radiating brilliance. Chapter 9, MVP. Studying makes me happy. I'm freely swimming in an ocean of knowledge, my mind clear, memory at its peak, and efficiency through the roof. If I had been in this state during the college entrance exams, I might have even made it to Tsinghua or Peking University. This afternoon's English study session with the Where Did the Time Go buff and elementary memory capsules was incredibly efficient. I learned more than I had in the past half-month combined. Comparison is the thief of joy, but when your memory doubles in capacity, the effect isn't just doubled, it multiplies several times over. My brain feels like a CPU with an extra RAM stick installed, expanding its storage to hold vast amounts of knowledge effortlessly. Before, no matter how hard I studied, knowledge just wouldn't stick, my brain would issue a memory full warning after absorbing just a little. What used to be much effort, little gain has now become little effort, much gain. Turns out learning can be this enjoyable. I'm a bit exhausted, but it's exhilarating. Studying is absolutely addictive. By my senior year, I had finally realized the true importance of studying, perhaps a bit late, but now I find myself adrift, only feeling grounded when occupied with tasks. Another couple joined under the tree then, leaning against the trunk in their own whispered affections, and so I too was liberated from the vast ocean of knowledge. Watching the couples under the tree tangled in their embraces, I felt strangely serene, with a calm detachment, until a phrase surfaced in my mind, those who show their love will die quickly. Lovey-dovey couples die fast, followed by a system alert, congratulations, host, for grasping the essence of study, all else is trivial. Reward, Charlie Chaplin's speed buff, 1 day, effect plus 100% speed, applicable to any body part. This time I didn't hesitate and chose to increase hand speed. Hee, I flashed a shy smile. A new timer appeared before me, 16 to 16:30 break, balance work and rest for longevity. While sugar mama's fortune lasts forever, gigolos come and go. You must live long to outlast all the sugar mamas. I stood up and wandered around the classroom when suddenly my phone started beeping. It was a call from my roommate Lao Yang. I answered, and Lao Yang said, "Hey Fourth, are you free? Our homeroom teacher Mrs. Liu is sick. Let's visit her together. I've already bought some fruits. We'll gather at the first cafeteria at 4:30. Alright, I replied, already accustomed to old Yang's smooth way of handling things. Though he phrased it as a question, everything was clearly prearranged. Shouldering my backpack, I headed straight to the cafeteria entrance to wait. The slow stroll from the classroom served as a decent break. I wondered to myself, would visiting the teacher later clash with my system tasks? When I reached the cafeteria and found no one there, I slipped inside to buy 2 grilled sausages. Devouring them hastily, I dreaded running into dorm mates who'd inevitably pressure me to treat them, such was the frugal man's discipline. Just then, a new schedule prompt appeared before my eyes, 16:30, 17:30, Parenting Studies, * Mastering Childcare, Nurturing, Managing, and Excelling at Raising Kids is Fundamental Soft Rice Husband Etiquette. She earns the bread, you maintain your looks, handle parenting, cooking, chores, and elderly care, *. I couldn't help but rant, system, are these ellipses because even you can't continue this nonsense? Is this even humanly survivable? I was staring dumbfounded at the new timeline requirements when all my roommates arrived. True to form, old Yang arrived carrying a fancy fruit basket. Got this from a friend super cheap, he declared generously. Only $50, these normally go for over 100 outside. Just transfer me 10 each. The roommates transferred 15 each without hesitation. We arrived together at Teacher Lu's place, where a young woman opened the door wearing a white floral dress with slightly messy hair, white socks, and slippers. Lao Yang spoke first, "Teacher, are you feeling better?" He always took care of such polite talk, he was the best at it. Even 23-year-old Lao Shao wasn't as smooth as 22-year-old Lao Yang, let alone me. I wasn't the eloquent type. Though I cared about the teacher too, I just couldn't put it into words. Teacher Lu was quite happy and invited us in to sit, scolding us for wasting money on fruit. It was a one-bedroom school apartment, cozy in layout, but the room carried a strong scent of medicine. Though I was curious about his illness, I didn't feel it appropriate to ask. At that moment, the timer bar on my forehead flickered noticeably. I wondered where I could learn parenting skills since there were no children in the house. Just then, a sound came from inside the room. Teacher Lu hurried over, and we followed out of curiosity. In the bedroom, we saw a little boy lying on the bed with white bandages wrapped around his lower back. The sound had been his phone falling to the floor. The boy looked up at us and greeted, "Hello, brothers." We knew Teacher Lu had a son who seemed to be in elementary school, but we hadn't heard he was sick. Judging by the situation, his condition appeared quite serious. The little boy looked fair and pretty, like a miniature version of Teacher Lu, but he could only lie prone, unable to move. Even if his phone fell, he couldn't pick it up. Turns out old Yang had misunderstood. It wasn't Teacher Lu who was sick, but her son. Yet clearly, this genuine concern moved her even more deeply. Teacher Lu picked up the phone and explained calmly, "Xiaoyu took a fall last year. His father and I didn't think much of it at the time, assuming he was fine. But this year he complained of leg pain. At the hospital, they found the femoral head where he'd fallen had necrosed and required surgery. He just had the operation and is now recovering at home. Once he's healed, he'll be running around like before." Her tone was measured, but I noticed her eyes reddening. When mentioning the surgery, her cheek trembled subtly. My own timeline flickered in response. What did I know about parenting? Though here was a child right before me, his injury was severe. Imagining him undergoing surgery made my own failures seem trivial by comparison. At least I had my health to be grateful for. How about we play a game together? Perfect for a 5-player team. The moment I spoke, I wanted to slap myself, suggesting to a teacher that we take her son gaming. Surprisingly, Teacher Lu actually agreed. "Xiaoyu, you can play games with your brothers for a while. Mom will go cook." She normally opposed gaming, but with her son in this condition, she dared not ask for more, just wanting him healthy and happy, even if it meant playing games. None of us in the dorm expected we'd one day be gaming at our teacher's house, accompanying her son, who turned out to be a classic elementary school kid. Playing as a real-life 5-person team was actually pretty fun. Despite being a grown man, I loved playing as Deji, the fox spirit, while little Xiaoyu chose Luban. The others picked heroes they were comfortable with. The game begins, the familiar sound rings out, I dash to the middle lane, and then the opponent comes running. I hit them once, twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times. Didn't even use any skills, just whittled them down to death. I was utterly baffled. Could this opponent be an idiot or just delivering themselves to me on a silver platter? Then they respawned, only to be beaten to death again in a few hits, revived once more and met the same fate. While waiting for their respawn timer, I went to the bottom lane to help Xiaoyu, and still took out opponents in just a few hits. Then I returned to mid to harvest their Ari, before heading back to assist bottom lane again. This bottom lane opponent was a bit tougher, took me 8 hits to finish them off. Then I pushed towers while eliminating enemies, farmed minions while advancing, destroyed more towers, and then, the game ended. I felt a bit dazed, as if I had entered not my usual game session but like a high schooler crashing a middle school match. I became the MVP straight away, first place. I scored 14 points alone, while none of the opponents broke 8, and even one of my own teammates only managed 4.1. The others were equally baffled, unable to comprehend why I'd suddenly become so unstoppable. Again, we started another match. This opponent was a bit tougher, but they still got wiped, just held out a little longer. Then I went around supporting everywhere, and this round ended even quicker, hardly any time to get excited before it was over. I snagged another MVP with 13 points. This time, I carried Xiaoyu alone, leaving opponents with slivers of health for him to finish off. He ended up with 11 points too. Then we launched yet another game. Once you start playing, it's hard to resist the addiction, round after round. I've never experienced such utter dominance in real life, but today in the game, I felt like an absolute beast, reigning supreme, the top player with reflexes so fast they seemed to leave after images. Since I was playing alongside Xiaoyu, I consciously adjusted my playing style to support him, striving to win while also using my brain to strategize when to jungle, when to take on the boss, and how to secure victory. Before, I never put any thought into gaming, nor did I help my teammates. Today, for the first time, I actually engaged my brain while playing. Even if indulging in such idle pleasures is often frowned upon, I somehow felt I'd gained something inexplicable from it. We kept winning and having a blast. Xiaoyu lay sprawled out, humming and giggling, his voice much louder than before. Seeing us in the room with her son, Lu Chunli's expression softened slightly. She decided to prepare more food so us students could stay for dinner, and the aroma from the kitchen soon filled the air. Chapter 10, Gentle Teacher Lu. One glorious hour of King's Glory later, boosted by my hand speed buff and memory capsules, I'd already gained a little fan. Xiaoyu's face was filled with admiration, visibly excited, and he wore an unusually happy smile, completely forgetting the pain in his body. But I still wanted to keep playing. Seeing the new time bar above my head, I could only reluctantly put down my phone. 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. learning household chores, nothing sexier than a man who can do housework. I think the system is tricking me, but the feedback is so immediate, just like playing a game. You get rewarded bit by bit as you work, which doesn't seem entirely unacceptable. So I told my classmate Xiaoyu that it's important to balance work and rest. Right at that moment, Teacher Lu came in to remind us, wanting her son to take a break. Lu Chunli was taken aback for a moment when she heard me say that. She had a relatively deep impression of Yang Wenming, a student in her class, considering him mature and smooth-talking. The others were just remembered as Yang Wenming's roommates. "Teacher, I'll go help you with the prep work," I offered. The others also chimed in to help, but the kitchen was too small, so in the end, I took the lead and squeezed in to assist. People who aren't good with words tend to gain a lot more confidence when there's work to be done. I was quite efficient in helping out, cleaning up, chopping vegetables, washing them. Lu Chunli remarked, "Didn't expect that, Feng Hao. You're actually good at housework." When I was little, my parents were busy with work, so I often had to make lunch myself. "That's why I picked up a bit," I replied. Lu Chunli was stir-frying while a pot of bone broth beside her came to a boil, bubbling vigorously. She picked up a ladle to skim off the foam. "My name is Feng Hao. Today at the teacher's family dinner, I said to her, 'Teacher, let me handle this.' Then I took the soup ladle from her hand. Normally, Teacher Lu wouldn't prepare so many dishes, but those of us visiting were all strapping young lads at our hungriest age, so today she cooked extra portions and appeared somewhat flustered. She stood aside continuing to stir-fry while I watched the bubbles rise in the big bone broth, skimming them off with the ladle. It's quite a delicate task requiring patience. Removing these bubbles prevents any fishy taste when drinking the soup. When I was young, I used to help my mom with this chore. While working, the system in my mind suddenly spoke up, detected a silver-tier single woman near the host, net worth 6.2 million, highly educated 80 points, appearance above average 80 points. Host must actively perform, good luck. The sudden voice nearly made me drop the spoon in my hand. I cursed inwardly, this is my own teacher. I'd never even thought of Ms. Lu as a woman. I do like Xiaoyu, but that's entirely different from liking Ms. Lu. Besides, she already has such a big kid, how could she be single? Then the system added, Lu Chunli, 32 years old, divorced with child, owns a premium downtown flat worth 4.8 million, a commuter car valued at 300,000, savings of 1.1 million, monthly salary 12,000. In good health, no bad habits. Her son is 9 years old. Cooking skills, excellent. I was quite surprised looking at the introduction displayed by the system. I never expected Teacher Lu to have such good conditions, owning a house, a car, and even savings, and an 80 score appearance rating on top of that? This damn system is quite meticulous, honestly. To tell the truth, I'd never really paid attention to what the teacher looked like, mainly because such thoughts had never crossed my mind. Teacher Lu was usually quite strict in class, but now, in the kitchen, I saw a woman with her hair tied in a low ponytail, wearing a white dress and a blue apron wrapped around her waist. The dress was loose, but the apron cinched at her waist, accentuating her figure and the curve of her hips. Her skin was pale, even the nape of her neck revealed by the low ponytail was milky white, with fine wisps of hair against it, so pale it almost felt creamy. My heart shuddered, and I quickly muttered curses internally. This damn system was trying to lead me astray. After all, she's my teacher. After that, I tried to stay as far away from the teacher as possible, helping with tidying up. But the kitchen was small, so there wasn't much room anyway. While Teacher Lu cooked, I lingered in the kitchen, laughter and chatter filling the living room behind us. She seemed a bit absent-minded, as if transported back to the days before her divorce, when she and her husband would bustle about the kitchen together, hosting friends for meals. Later, her husband often went on business trips. Teacher Lu's cooking skills were excellent, preparing 4 dishes and a soup: tofu stewed with Chinese cabbage, stir-fried beef with green peppers, braised pork, potatoes with string beans, and a hearty radish and pork bone soup, each portion generous. Us young men had voracious appetites. We not only cleared the plates but nearly licked them clean. Teacher Lu ate with us dressed simply in a white linen blouse and pants, her hair tied in a low ponytail with a loose strand framing her forehead. She looked gentle and kind, nothing like the intimidating figure who pounded the lectern in class. Perhaps because we were graduating soon and about to step into society, our conversations felt more like those between peers. To her surprise, Teacher Lu discovered that I, usually so unremarkable, was actually quite thoughtful, with a pleasant voice and efficient work habits. The key point is Xiaoyu really likes me. Teacher Lu hasn't seen him this happy for a long time. During dinner, Teacher Lu sat beside me and even served me dishes. She asked, "How's your internship hunt going?" Da Xiao said his family had already sorted it out for him. Lao Yang secured one through his extensive connections, while Lao Shao hadn't found anything yet but was too prideful to admit it. I went straight to the point. "Teacher, I couldn't find it. Could you please sign for me later and help me fake it?" Teacher Lu lightly patted my arm and said, "What wishful thinking is this? No way." I just felt my arms burning as I kept my head down eating. After finishing the meal at Teacher Lu's place and bidding farewell to Xiaoyu, the boy was particularly reluctant to see me go. He even added me on WeChat, and Teacher Lu added me separately too. Previously, I'd only seen her notices in group chats but had never added her privately. For the first time in my utterly unremarkable life, I'd earned someone's admiration. Even if it was just an elementary schooler, I still felt pretty proud. After completing childcare, housework, and dinner tasks, the system automatically erased 3 more small scars. Even the stubborn acne mark on my chin had faded, feeling much smoother to the touch now. Back at the dorm, Xiao grabbed me and asked, "Old Fourth, what face wash are you using? The results look great, let me borrow some." Silently, I handed him my Safeguard soap bar. Everyone was in the dorm tonight. Usually old Yang is always missing in action with his busy social life. When he came back, he got such a shock he thought he'd walked into the wrong room, saying the dorm was way too clean. He asked me, "Old Fourth, you good? If something's up, just say it. We've been dorm mates for 4 years. If we can help, we will." Big Chow dropped his soap research and chimed in, "If money's tight, I can skip those sneakers and transfer you 2,000. Old Xiao, the poorest of us, anxiously tugged his hair but still spoke up, "I'm broke, but I can lend you 300, no, 500 tops, more than that I don't have." "Hey old Fourth, say the word, I might have no cash, but I've got my back." Their words left me speechless. I never expected them to be this solid. Moved beyond words, I just shrugged it off. "Nah, it's nothing. Just freaking out about not landing a job yet." "You don't know me yet, I come in waves," old Jiang said. "Your waves are terrifying. We're seniors now, about to start internships. Tonight, Big Brother will take you all out for some fun and show you around." Xiao Xiao asked obsequiously, "Brother Yang, are you taking us to a bar?" "I've never been to one." Old Jiang replied, "No bars tonight, how about a hot pot place? I invited some girls from the English department. Late night snacks and karaoke." We all shouted loudly that we wanted to go. Before I left, I received a WeChat message from the teacher. "Thank you, Feng Hao. Xiao Yu had a great time today." Her profile picture was of herself, long hair, white blouse, showing graceful dimples when she smiled. Her WeChat name was simply Lu Chunli. I curiously clicked into the teacher's WeChat moments and found her signature read, Jiao, Chunli. After dinner, I noticed the time bar on my forehead had disappeared. This system still has some humanity left. Then it was time for the second gathering. Old Jiang chose a DIY hot pot bar out in the town near campus, a place offering buffet-style dining where you could also sing. It charged by time and head count, with a maximum of 4 hours for 69 yuan per person. I hadn't left campus all day today. The system introduced me to 2 wealthy ladies earlier, 69-year-old Professor Liao and 32-year-old Teacher Lu. Now that I was heading off campus, I felt a bit excited. I wondered if the system would keep feeding me information about wealthy women along the way. I instinctively straightened my posture, walking tall with my chin up and stomach tucked in. Yet the system remained completely silent the entire trip. Could it be this town's GDP was too low? Arriving at Fire Bar, old Yang was already waiting in booth 809. He'd arrived first, dressed in a pale pink shirt, black dress pants, and black leather shoes, giving off proper corporate drone vibes, looking even more mature than old Xiao. Old Yang wore his hair in a 7:3 side part, with sharp facial features and standing 180 centimeters tall. He could barely look at Xiao's red leather shoes, debating whether to mention how the girls in class constantly mocked his footwear choices. Old Xiao somehow made even decent clothes look sloppy, always hunched over with terrible posture. Meanwhile today I unexpectedly turned heads, fresh haircut, clean-shaven face, crisp outfit. Whether through sudden emotional intelligence or pure luck, I'd elevated my usual 6 out of 10 looks to a solid 7. Last chance for us brothers to ditch singlehood, old Yang said. Better bring your A game. My stomach growled. I hadn't eaten enough at the teacher's place earlier. Having the instructor sit beside me during dinner had inexplicably killed my appetite. Old Yang might be showing off, but I'm definitely going to eat my money's worth at this buffet. We went to the hall to get food. I covered the private dining table with neatly arranged dishes, categorized and color-coordinated to whet the appetite. Just then, the long silence system suddenly spoke up. Detection alert. A platinum-tier single wealthy lady with unlimited potential is within 10 meters of the host. Net worth, 2.3 million. Education level, moderate, 77 points. Appearance, excellent, 83 points. Please perform appropriately. You got this. Old Yang stood up with his phone and said, "They're here, I'll go meet them." Having taken a primary memory capsule, my desires were reduced by 30%. After 21 years of being single, my desire points had dwindled to 19,700 out of 100 full points, but I was still excited. It didn't even have to be a wealthy lady, just a girl would do. This platinum-tier single wealthy lady had a net worth of 2.3 million. Though less than teacher Lu's, old Yang said his girlfriend spent 180 yuan per manicure. With 2.3 million, she could get over 12,000 manicures, enough for a different color every day for 35 years. Suddenly I realized I might be getting ahead of myself. With less than 600 yuan to my name, how could I possibly think 2 million wasn't much? As for knowledge, I didn't even dare ask the system, guessing it'd be even lower. But the system scored my looks as excellent, at 83 points. It gave teacher Lu an 80 today at dinner. Sitting beside her, I noticed how truly beautiful she was, exuding such gentle refinement that as a teenager, I stood no chance. I grew so nervous afterward I hardly ate much. It baffled me, was teacher Lu's ex-husband out of his mind, divorcing such a gorgeous wife? And now someone with an 83 in looks. Just how stunning would that be? I asked the system worriedly, how old? The system replied, Su Qingqing, 21 years old. Also, host's knowledge level is at 69 points. Work harder, host. While a handsome appearance may catch a wealthy woman's eye at first glance, only abundant knowledge can truly capture her heart. I actually scored 69 points. I feel quite honored. I thought I'd barely make 50. Curious about how a fellow student could have so much money, the system casually explained it was from New Year's red envelopes and pocket money given by elders. I was instantly convinced this was a real rich woman. Who gets millions in red envelope money? While chatting with the system, I devoured a plate of spaghetti with tomato sauce. My body and mind had been through a lot today, and I desperately needed to replenish my energy from the stomach up. Meanwhile, Di Xiao nervously pulled out his phone, opened the front-facing camera, and fiddled with his stiff hair. Old Xiao was also a bit on edge. Even though they were seniors in college, they were mostly darned-welling gamers, except for old Yang, who had more of a social life. Restlessly, he took out his phone and absent-mindedly opened Douyin. And then, holy shit! His Douyin actually has so many likes. Old Zhao's hands trembled as he held his phone. At that moment, the private room door opened, and old Yang walked in chatting and laughing with a few girls. I admire this about him so much. At home he eats while picking at his feet, yet outside he can talk to girls without blushing or trembling, speaking clearly and with perfect politeness. A few girls came in, and the lighting was a bit dim. That's just how the private rooms at Fire Bar are, with a few spotlights casting in overall gloom, though the table was fairly tidy. At first glance, they all noticed me, the guy eating noodles, saying I sat upright, ate neatly, dressed sharply, and had a clean face, a bit boyish and well-behaved, with decent poise. They were all seniors, yet somehow none of them had noticed there was a guy like me in the computer science department. Leading the group was Lin Xiaoya, the belle of the English department, a stunning beauty with waist-length, jet black straight hair that had countless guys swooning over her. Who would have thought old Yang actually managed to rope her in? Impressive. The three girls behind her were less familiar faces. Curious, I looked up searching for Su Qingqing. Behind Lin Xiaoya entered a slightly chubby girl, about 1.5 times Xiaoya's size, wearing a light blue tennis skirt. Her stubby legs were pale, exactly old Zhao's usual type. Strangely though, old Xiao didn't even jump up to greet her. Really odd. The two girls walking side by side behind them, the one on the left had short hair, was very tall, at least 170 centimeters, and dressed somewhat androgynously in a white t-shirt and jeans, made the girl on her right look noticeably shorter. One glance was all it took for me to recognize that tall, short-haired girl as Su Qingqing. Department beauty Lin Xiaoya was pretty, but when this short-haired girl walked in, even Lin seemed ordinary in comparison. Her features were strikingly vivid, her legs straight and slender with virtually no gap between them at first glance. It looked like her legs started right below her chest, seemingly longer than life itself. Curious, I asked the system, what's Lin Xiaoya's appearance score? The system replied, Lin Xiaoya, 22 years old, assets, minus 69,000, average knowledge level, 66 points, average appearance, 73 points. Hearing about negative assets made me shiver a little. How could the department belle possibly only score 73 points in looks? Could it be some makeup sorcery? I couldn't help but sneak another glance at Lin Xiaoya, but I didn't detect any heavy makeup, her lips weren't even sporting bold red. The observation lasted just a fleeting moment. With 4 living, breathing girls arriving suddenly, I nervously stuffed the remaining noodles into my mouth while continuing my conversation with the system. De Chao wasn't faring much better, slurping his coke aggressively through a straw. Old Xiao was still clutching his phone with a dumbfounded look. Yang Wenming sighed in exasperation, saying how our dorm buddies always fantasized big in private yet turned into complete fools when reality showed up. Totally hopeless, no wonder we were still single in our senior year. He introduced Old Xiao first, describing him as good-tempered, a certified simp, and a photography whiz who could help if needed. But Xiao Rui was frozen with his phone in hand. The likes on his post kept climbing past 70,000, with over 4,000 comments. Trembling with excitement, feeling fame at his fingertips, he just nodded blankly. Yang Wuming was speechless, saying he deserved to be single. The plump De Chao finally released the straw and stood up to introduce himself. Hello ladies, I'm Xiao Doi. You can call me Di Xiao, or Xiao Xiao if you prefer. His effeminate manner made the girls burst into laughter instantly. As for me, I was still slurping my noodles. After the 4 girls entered, aside from Lao Yang, everyone else seemed awkward. Lin Xiaoya sat next to Lao Yang, while the other 3 girls settled beside her in order from right to left. Lin Xiaoya, the plump girl, the round-faced girl, and the short-haired long-legged girl. Coincidentally, that long-legged girl sat right beside me. My fingertips nervously tapped against my thumbs one by one, making me feel like an idiot. Thankfully, the dim lighting meant no one was likely staring at my hands. The private room was small, forcing us to sit close together. I felt my spine stiffen straight up. I didn't know what to do. Our computer science department had few female students, and I rarely had opportunities to interact with girls, let alone at such close proximity. Though I often joked about finding a sugar mommy, in reality I was just a withdrawn otaku who didn't dare. Now I couldn't even bring myself to eat, feeling extremely awkward. Nobody was paying me any attention, yet I couldn't shake my own discomfort. I wanted to find a topic to talk about with this girl, but racked my brain and still couldn't figure out what to say. I idolized Old Yang so much, talking to girls was just too hard for me. I didn't dare look at the girl next to me, my eyes fixed straight ahead, unfocused. Suddenly, my eyes widened in surprise because, as I stared, a new time slot appeared before me. 20:30 to 21:30 singing. Singing brings joy, boosts immunity, enhances memory, relieves constipation. Sing more, be a happy and healthy young man, and wealthy ladies will like you even more. I thought to myself, great, I'm willing. At that moment, the system's mechanical voice chimed in. Host has completed the parenting task and received sincere gratitude from the other party. Reward, primary empathy buff, 1 day. Express yourself with heart, and others will feel what you feel. At this moment, the system felt incredibly warm and familiar to me. Actively socializing with girls? I couldn't do it. Completing tasks? That I could manage, though I might regret it later and slap myself twice. Right now I truly had no idea what to do. Socializing was just too hard, and I was afraid the more I talked, the more mistakes I'd make. I always feel like I'm short and unattractive, awkward with words and lacking confidence, with limited knowledge and not at all witty. All those corny jokes I usually remember are now vanishing from my mind. I think the soft Rice King system really kicked an iron plate when it bound to me. If I actually manage to latch onto a wealthy woman in this lifetime, then the system wins. Wait, no, the system says I won't live past 50. So without even saying a word, I abruptly stood up and fled to choose a song. The first one that popped up was Give You a Little Red Flower, and I clicked it without even selecting. Over there, Old Yang dragged De Chao to buy drinks. The barbecue joint offers free food, but alcohol costs extra. Old Yang was clearly spending someone else's money on his own agenda. Most likely, De Chao ended up paying, but he didn't mind, because Old Yang knew how to handle people. In the private KTV room, Lao Xiao, normally the ultimate simp, was acting strangely out of character today. Despite the presence of 4 beautiful female college students, he didn't even attempt to fawn over them. Instead, he just sat there staring blankly at his phone. Not knowing how to salvage the awkward situation, I quickly grabbed the mic. Better to start singing than let the silence suffocate us all. The slow instrumental intro began with a child's clear, unaccompanied vocals, that piercingly innocent voice capable of piercing straight through one's heart. After the gentle orchestral build-up, I started singing, "I'll give you a little red flower, blooming on the branch you grew yesterday. A reward for your courage in speaking to me first." The chatting girls abruptly fell silent, caught off guard by the song's sudden emotional pull. Relentless as glacial water, reckless as distilled spirits. Through all those bitter days, you've already conquered them, my voice resonated through the private room. All at once, those lyrics struck my mind like drumsticks hitting a bass head. Everyone stopped talking mid-sentence. I saw Su Qingqing being dragged out by her roommate Lin Xiaoya to hang out, and she seemed to have some regrets. She usually avoids such pointless socializing, finding it pretty dull. But it's their senior year, and they'll soon be going their separate ways. Despite the minor conflicts and disagreements with her roommate over the years, now that the time has come, she suddenly feels reluctant to part. Su Qingqing comes from a privileged background, yet she keeps a low profile and doesn't flaunt luxury goods. Lin Xiaoya is probably the only one in the dorm who knows about her family's wealth, having stumbled upon the truth by chance outside once. Her family wants her to study abroad, and she doesn't find much worth missing here. She also thinks the guys at school are all immature. Take Lin Xiaoya, for example, she's just good at dressing up. Without makeup, she's just an ordinary girl, yet the guys still call her a goddess. Guess they deserve to be fooled. Su Qingqing planned to sit for a while before leaving. She didn't touch the drink in front of her, instead picking up a cherry tomato, wiping it with a tissue before bringing it to her lips. At that moment, I heard the sound of my own singing begin. The song was "Send You a Little Red Flower," the theme song from a movie about two families affected by cancer. It tells the story of moving from self-abandonment and despair to cherishing life, encouraging people to maintain courage and optimism no matter what difficulties they face, and to treasure every moment of life. Music knows no borders, it doesn't even need a common language to convey emotions. As I sang, I noticed the faint sweetness of the cherry tomato and Su Qingqing's mouth seemed to burst into something sour and bitter. She was confused about studying abroad, confused about the future, feeling like everything was dull. But in this moment, her heart suddenly raced, beating with strength, her eyes inexplicably stinging, her blood surging through her limbs, her arms and legs feeling heavy, yet her heart kept pounding. There was a longing for life in her eyes, anticipation for the future, fresh ideas forming, yet also a thread of sorrow running through it all. Meanwhile, old Xiao, who had been staring at his phone the entire time, raised it up seriously to take photos. I finished singing as earnestly as if completing an assignment. At the end of the song, I suddenly heard a voice echoing in my mind. "Congratulations, host, for successfully progressing towards wooing the promising platinum-tier wealthy lady Su Qingqing. Initial results achieved. Affection level has reached 60. Stay diligent, strive harder, and bravely scale greater heights." I was stunned at that moment. Wait, what? From 2030 to 2130 was singing time. They claimed singing brings joy, boosts immunity, enhances memory, relieves constipation. Sing more to become a happy and healthy pretty boy. Sugar mommies would like you even more. I finished singing a song with great enthusiasm when old Yang and De Xiao walked in carrying beer. Seeing old Xiao standing up and filming me with his phone, old Yang was utterly speechless. With four girls visibly sitting there, instead of filming them, he was pointing his phone at his roommate. Old Yang thought he deserved to stay single forever. Unlike him, old Yang knew how to liven things up. He had De Xiao open the beer and handed snacks to the girls. Noticing Su Qingqing only liked fruit and specifically the ones with peels, he placed cherry tomatoes and longan in front of her, ensuring each girl had her favorite snacks within reach. With old Yang joining in, the atmosphere instantly warmed up. He poured beer for everyone and even brought a glass to me while I was singing in the corner. I had just finished a song and was a little thirsty, yet too shy to go over for water, so I downed the ice-cold beer in one gulp. Those who could drink kept passing glasses around. As a non-drinker, I downed a cup before others even started, immediately feeling warmth in my throat and a quickened blood flow, as if gaining a slight boost of courage. The prelude of the second song began, soothing like ocean waves. "Singing for you, I saved half a year's earnings to cross oceans to see you. For this reunion, I even practiced my breathing when we meet." My deep voice rolled in like the tide. "For your promise, even in my most desperate hours, I held back my tears." I sang with intoxicated passion, my clear voice brimming with emotion, painting vivid imagery from the first note. At this moment, old Xiao filmed with his phone, inexplicably moist-eyed. "In unfamiliar cities, in familiar corners, we once offered solace, once hugged inside." Hearing this, the girls nearby also reddened their eyes. "Watching you disappear into the sandstorm, I couldn't help but be overwhelmed with sorrow." Yang Wenming froze, reminiscing about his first online romance meetup where the girl stood him up. Since then, he seemed to have turned into a jerk. De Xiao was blowing his nose at the moment. Though he'd never traveled to meet a girlfriend, just imagining such a scene made him emotional and teary-eyed. After singing with utmost seriousness, I heard that familiar robotic voice again. "Congratulations, host, for successfully wooing the promising platinum-level wealthy woman Su Qingqing. Progress achieved. Affection level reached 70. Keep up the good work, aim higher, and scale new heights." I was stunned. I hadn't even exchanged a single word with Su Qingqing, yet her affection was already at 70. Suddenly, I understood why rock stars were so revered and why concerts got so wild. Maybe everyone just self-seduces, while the idols sing on stage, their fans below are already conjuring countless scenarios in their minds. Everyone else in the private room was immersed in the scenes evoked by the song, their eyes reddening as glances turned toward me with a pang in their hearts. A few girls thought my singing was too heartfelt, proof I must have been hurt before. In their minds, there's this unconscious equation, hurt before equals a good person. Many trashy guys love playing this kind of persona to lower girls' guard. After the song ended, old Yang asked if anyone else wanted to sing. Lin Xiaoya was eager, she had a decent voice too. Old Zhang pulled her along to pick a song, and right in front of everyone, he casually got handsy, though it was just pulling her up and letting go. It numbed a few of us with second-hand trauma. Logically, with a rapport score of 70, I should press the advantage, but if I had that kind of skill, I wouldn't still be single. After singing, I just sat back down next to old Xiao. Only Dashio was putting in the effort, chatting up the three girls. He was well versed in cosmetics and women's brands, quickly blending in, but the girls never saw him as male to begin with. From the moment old Xiao walked in and saw his Douyin account, he trembled uncontrollably, hands shaking, body quivering, with the tremor of impending destiny-changing excitement. Throughout nearly 4 years of university, he had been a hopeless simp, painstakingly honing his photography skills and teaching himself filming and editing. Yet his Douyin follower count stood at a pitiful 789, with video likes typically in the single digits, double digits being a rare triumph. Now in his senior year, as classmates headed off for internships, even his offer of free photography services met with rejection. Unable to secure any internship himself, futureless and adrift, he filled his days gaming in the dormitory. After 2 grueling repeat years just to claw his way into university, it had all proven worthless. Too ashamed to call home, he'd lie in bed post-gaming, staring at the grimy ceiling above, sometimes weeping in cowardly silence only to leap down and become the shameless, thick-skinned old Xiao once more. He was desperate to make money, to succeed, to go crazy with ambition. Now that he saw an opportunity, he grabbed my hand and exclaimed excitedly, "Old Fourth, let's work together. I'll make Douyin videos for you from now on." With difficulty, I tried to pull my hand free and said, "Brother Xiao, are you drunk? The girls are over there, I'm your roommate." Meanwhile, on the karaoke stage, old Yang gazed deeply at Lin Xiaoya, the department belle from the English department, as they sang together, "You're the only one I feel this way about in the whole world. No matter how wild or reckless I get, just give me a look and I'll settle down. Even if the road is long or wide, as long as you're holding my hand, I feel safe. I'll be sweet and clingy, gentle and thoughtful." I shouted, "Old Xiao, let go of my hand." Chapter 14, 75 Old Xiao got drunk. They say drinking reveals true character. When drunk he didn't make noise or fuss, just hugged people and cried, wanting to hug everyone. He held on to me the longest. I tried pushing him away several times, but he was incredibly strong and wouldn't budge. Damn it, if the sugar mommy saw me wolfing down noodles earlier and now getting all touchy-feely with my roommate, hugging and clinging, I'd really be beyond redemption. Forget it though, the main thing was old Zhao's crying. It was so suppressed. Here was this big guy, weeping in these tiny, quiet sobs. If his t-shirt hadn't gotten damp on my shoulder, I wouldn't even have realized he was crying. To be honest, at that moment, I felt like crying too. For 4 years of university, we stayed in the same dorm room without any changes. Old Xiao was honest and dependable, fetching hot water, cleaning the dorm, and picking up takeout were mostly his tasks. He always said he was the eldest and should act like an older brother, but none of us ever called him Brother Xiao, just Old Xiao. His trademark smile was a simple, good-natured grin. Even when people said nasty things to him, he wouldn't get upset, he'd just keep smiling. No matter what he wore, he somehow always looked a bit country, and though he was tall, his slight hunch made him seem somewhat awkward. At first, I didn't think much of him either, especially since he was always fawning over girls, no matter what they looked like. But by senior year, it suddenly hit me, maybe I wasn't any different from Old Xiao. At least he had his experience chasing after girls. I had nothing. Old Zhao's family was from the countryside, his parents farmed and took on odd jobs during the off-season. They weren't educated or skilled. His father worked construction while his mother labored in the kitchen of a restaurant. His living expenses were modest, evident from his attire, yet his parents still bought him a camera and a computer. He had all the essentials. My family was also of modest means. My parents were originally factory workers. As a dual-income household with company housing, our circumstances were decent. Later, they were both laid off. My father, adept at cooking, set up a snack stall and eventually opened a small eatery. We lived modestly but managed to get by. But my second uncle's family was well off, and my young aunt also married well. Second uncle went to university back then, a college degree was highly valuable and is now a professor. My young aunt also attended university, became an elementary school teacher after graduation, and married a civil servant. Her husband has had a flourishing career as an official and now works at the State-Owned Assets Supervision and Administration Commission. My father never attended university and went straight to work in a factory early on. Different choices shape different lives. During holidays and festivals, our family gatherings always felt awkward, and I couldn't help but keenly sense the comparison each time. Old Xiao envied me for having a shop in the city, but I envied De Xiao. His family owned a factory, making him practically a little rich second generation in our dorm. Old Yang's parents both worked in government units, even minor leaders, though he never specified what they actually did. Old Xiao couldn't hold his liquor well. He got drunk after just a few drinks and sobbed on my shoulder till it was soaked. I had to take care of him, barely exchanging more than a few words with those girls. That night, Old Yang seemed to have drunk too much as well, earnestly pulling Lin Xiaoya into a deep conversation about life. Big Xiao wanted to get the girls to drink, but ended up being outdrunk by them, always eager to play despite being terrible at it. I was the only sober one left in the dorm. I watched as De Xiao chatted animatedly with the chubby girl and the bespectacled girl. De Xiao had drunk too much, and at some point the topic shifted from cosmetics to my father's factory. The two girls suddenly became much more attentive, their expressions noticeably warmer. I helped Old Xiao settle onto the sofa, then got up to pay the bill. Perhaps the poorer one is, the more importance they place on face. My father had the least success in our family gatherings, yet he always insisted on paying. That habit rubbed off on me too. Turns out someone beat me to it when I went outside. Su Qingqing was standing there wearing flat white sneakers. Her bare height definitely reached 170 centimeters. I felt somewhat awkward. Old Yan usually handled these matters, but tonight he'd drunk too much. I should have come out earlier. When hanging out with girls, our group of 4 defaults to splitting the bill equally, including the girls' share, about 100 plus per person. Approaching her, I couldn't stay silent. Embarrassed, I asked, "Classmate, can I add your WeChat? I'll transfer the money to you." She looked at me and said, "Sure, I'll scan you." Under the bright lobby lights, I saw her delicate makeup-free features, fair skin, tall stature with long legs, slender waist, and generously proportioned curves. Her face carried a striking beauty with slightly thick eyebrows, large eyes, straight nose, and small lips, emanating a stubborn charm that suggested she could effortlessly handle an AK-47 for suppressive fire. I looked at her, estimating she probably found my face clean-cut, eyebrows neat, slightly nervous but with a pleasant and clear voice, dressed ordinarily but not unpleasantly. After adding her on WeChat, I immediately transferred 552 yuan 69 per person for 8 people. She refunded it, saying, "You only need to pay for your dorm." I sent 276 yuan instead, and she accepted it. Then, a voice echoed in my mind, "Congratulations, host, for making progress in wooing the platinum-tier wealthy Belle Su Qingqing. Initial success achieved with a favorability rating of 75. Keep up the hard work, strive further, and aim for greater heights." Just from this transaction alone, the favorability points increased by another 5. It was past 11 when I got back to the dorm. After washing up and lying down, I looked at the time bar displayed before my eyes. 23 to 6 o'clock rest time. Good sleep means good spleen and stomach, less risk of diabetes, hypertension, baldness, kidney deficiency. Be a healthy kept man. Sleep now. The pale yellow time bar pulsed softly, and I fell asleep peacefully. What a long day it had been. Chapter 15, Running Buddy. The schedule showed 6 to 6:30 for waking up, washing up, and drinking a glass of honey water, good for intestinal health. Don't be so strict about the sugar daddy's gender, there's great potential there. The light came on, and I waved my hand through the air a few times, trying to turn off the time bar and sleep a little longer, but it only grew brighter. My mind cleared. I'd slept well last night, falling asleep the moment I hit the bed and not waking once during the night. Yet every part of my body ached, as if 12 train cars had run back and forth over me. I barely had the strength to lift my arms. This was the aftermath of exercise. Yesterday, between running and swimming, I'd crammed a month's worth of workouts into a single day. Reading the notes on the time bar made my buttocks clench. I dragged myself up to wash up. There was still a bit of honey left from yesterday. Honey is miraculous, a jar that never seems to run dry no matter how much you drink. I downed a cup of it, then ran to the toilet and relieved myself copiously. My body felt a little lighter, though my legs throbbed painfully from squatting. The timer shows 6:30 to 7 o'clock for running. A healthy body keeps the mind clear, fuels fighting spirit, and maintains an uplifting spirit. Going downstairs was a struggle. When I finally made it to the playground on the first floor, my legs were shaking like the old janitors, and the inner thighs were sore and tender. Just touching them was unbearable, let alone running. Even walking felt like a chore. Just then, the system's mechanical voice chimed in, for diligently completing the singing talent performance. the host is rewarded with a elementary calcium capsule. Taking this capsule eliminates back soreness and leg pain, allowing you to climb 15 floors effortlessly, effective for 1 day. One of the essential little pills for gold diggers. Calcium? This system really has a sense of humor. It waits until I'm barely able to crawl downstairs before handing out last night's reward. A white tablet appeared in my hand, and it tasted slightly sweet when I popped it into my mouth. The effect was immediate after eating. The aching throughout my body vanished like removing clothes, my legs and arms became nimble, and my waist stopped aching while my legs no longer hurt. The morning breeze wasn't chilly but crisp and clear. Last night, the private room at the bar had poor ventilation, crowded and filled with greasy, smelly food. Walking just a few steps on the morning road, the breeze felt like it cleansed my lungs, refreshing and invigorating. The roadside trees stood tall and proud. The sun hadn't fully risen yet, bright but not scorching. I started jogging, swinging my arms widely, so joyful that I accidentally lifted my legs too fast and swung my arms too high, nearly tripping myself. Luckily, at this early hour, probably no one saw it. At that moment, the system announced, Real Person Simulation Navigation Learning activated. Please correct your running posture, breathing, and force application points. Sharpening the axe won't delay the cutting of firewood. Keep it up, host. The familiar voice echoed in my ears again. Hey, this running app even has real-time human navigation, how amazing. And those magical dotted lines showing when my arm swings too wide or my legs lift too high. It feels like swimming, with some invisible force gently guiding me. When I finally adjusted my foot placement correctly, that pressure vanished. I kept jogging slowly while continuously fine-tuning my posture. Hey, it actually felt much lighter this way, and that breathless exhaustion after running for just a while disappeared completely. Ahead, I spotted Professor Liao again. Dressed in purple athletic wear with gold-rimmed glasses secured by a golden anti-drop chain, he was wobbling along at his characteristic leisurely pace. Good morning, Xiao Feng, Professor Liao greeted me. Good morning, Professor Liao, I replied with a smile, feeling unexpectedly light from my run, before continuing my jog. Young man, full of energy, good for you, Professor Liao said leisurely as he walked, arms swinging and lightly slapping his body, producing rhythmic pattering sounds. Though Professor Liao was already 69 years old, his facial features were still well-defined. His skin, however, showed signs of age, liver spots and crow's feet, but overall, he remained fairly attractive, let's say a solid 78 out of 100. Not bad at all. I was in the middle of running when the system's slightly excited voice suddenly rang out. Congratulations host on successfully making progress with golden single wealthy widow Liao Fanghua. Initial results achieved, favorability level has reached 60. Please continue striving, keep up the good work, and scale new heights. Hearing this, I stumbled and nearly fell. I quickly focused my mind, constantly correcting my running posture and movements, soon becoming completely absorbed. Running from the South Campus to the United College campus, the path wound around the lake with breathtaking scenery. United College was located on an island in the lake center, boasting excellent environment and newer buildings, though naturally charging higher fees too. At night, this place was filled with couples strolling hand in hand, reeking of sickening sweetness. But in the mornings it was quite deserted. Those lovebirds probably couldn't drag themselves out of bed this early. In the early morning, the lake breeze, green trees, and rising sun slowly receded behind me. As I jogged, I suddenly heard a splash. A fish leaped from the lake, sending up a spray of water that shimmered brilliantly in the morning light, a breathtaking sight. I couldn't help but stop. Another fish jumped, splashing colorful droplets into the air. That fish was so plump it made me hungry just looking at it. I thought to myself, with such vigorous exercise, the flesh must be tender and delicious. Hey, classmate. Just as I stood there watching the fish, someone called out to me. I turned to see a girl in a black baseball cap, a loose white t-shirt, and form-fitting yoga pants that reached mid-thigh, revealing smooth, toned legs and fair calves, her feet clad in white running shoes. She stood beside me with a friendly smile, as dazzling as a fish that had leaped from the lake and turned into a nymph. Morning. I didn't expect it to be Su Qingqing standing before me, shimmering brighter than the water droplets kicked up by fish. Want to run together? Su Qingqing asked generously. Sure, I agreed aloud, though my mind had already left the fish behind. I wished I could sprout windfire wheels and vanish in a single breath. I realized I was like Lord Yi, who claimed to love dragons. All day in the dorm I'd chatter with roommates about girls, proclaiming my desire for a girlfriend, yet when actually faced with one, I wanted to disappear on the spot. I began running earnestly, focusing more intently than before on the running correction equipment, throwing myself wholly into the exercise without exchanging a single word with Su Qingqing. I kept thinking to myself that I need to study hard, strive to be kept by a wealthy woman as soon as possible, and become a successful gigolo. Women would only slow me down when I run. Su Qingqing was also running seriously. She loves sports, enjoys running and playing tennis. Last night when their dorm was discussing boys, Lin Xiaoya mentioned that I wake up early to run. It was my roommate who told her. During these kinds of conversations, Lin Xiaoya always likes to show off how much she knows, as if she's very popular with guys. Su Qingqing probably didn't expect to bump into me either. An accidental meeting is even more delightful than a planned one. By day, she might think I'm just an utterly ordinary guy, but she finds my singing pleasant, and not many boys wake up early to run. Plus, my running posture looks professional, and my breathing is well controlled. Though we just met, she discovered many virtues beneath my ordinary exterior. Just like that, solitary jogs turned into paired runs. In my senior year, I finally found myself running down Lakeside Path with a girl. My roommate Old Young had been strolling hand in hand with a sophomore girl here since the 4th day of freshman year, same distance. Some only need 4 days while I took 4 years. Running back from Lakeside Path to Student Street, my form grew increasingly proper, my breathing corrected itself, and I even began enjoying the latter half of the route. Today even the breeze tasted unusually sweet, perhaps because there was a girl by my side. Su Qingqing's hair carried a sweet fragrance reminiscent of lychees, releasing subtle whiffs with every stride. Reaching the end of Binha Road, the system spoke again. Congratulations, host, for making significant progress in winning over the platinum-tier wealthy woman Su Qingqing with boundless potential. Affection level has reached 78. Keep up the good work, strive for continuous improvement, and aim for greater heights. A friendly reminder, when the affection level reaches 80, new system functions will be unlocked. I focused entirely on running throughout, never exchanging a word with Su Qingqing, partly because I'm not good with words, and partly because talking while running disrupts breathing. Yet Su Qingqing somehow raised her affection for me by another 3 points. This girl really gets attached to people easily. How could someone like me possibly deserve this? Su Qingqing appears tall and strikingly handsome, with a slightly stern and aloof expression that makes her seem unapproachable. Her height alone filters out many potential admirers. A 170 centimeters woman visually towers over a 170 centimeters man by half a head. Normally, whenever I see women like her, I'd hug the sidewalk to avoid getting scolded. Who would have thought I'd now have 78 affection points from her? On the way back, walking slowly, I mustered my courage and said, "Classmate Su, let me treat you to breakfast. There's a place on Student Street that serves delicious noodles and broth, and it's not expensive either." As soon as I said it, I regretted it a little. She's a genuine rich girl, she probably doesn't care whether it's expensive or not. Only I do. Well, too late now. What's said is said. Fortunately, I sounded calm, my voice was just right, and my words came out firm and confident, no hesitation. But I still need to keep practicing, or the crisp voice buff will wear off soon. Sure, Su Qingqing agreed cheerfully. Just like that? I was a little stunned. Was it really this easy? Did Old Yang just ask like this and get a yes every time? Arriving at the Student Street, there were 3 small tables in front of the vermicelli soup stall. Since it was still early, 2 of them were empty. Vermicelli soup is a southern Fujian snack, with a base of thoroughly cooked thin noodles that can be slurped through a straw. You can add almost anything to it. Raw or fresh ingredients taste delicious when mixed into the soup, which has a peppery flavor and the fragrance of the noodles. Pairing it with fried dough sticks is the best. The freshly fried, piping hot dough sticks, soaked in the vermicelli soup and coated in the savory broth, create an amazing combination. The crispiness of the dough sticks paired with the mildly spicy soup is simply unbeatable. I asked Su Qingqing if she had any dietary restrictions, and she said she didn't like scallions. Everything else was fine. I ordered the deluxe version of vermicelli soup, both portions without scallions, along with 4 fried dough sticks. I noticed Su Qingqing pull out wet wipes from somewhere and meticulously wipe down the small table and stools. Just as I was about to sit down after placing the food on the table, the system suddenly chimed in. Daily flirting tip: posture between people matters. Sitting side by side is better than sitting face to face. Facing each other creates a sense of mutual scrutiny, while sitting adjacent naturally lowers defenses and makes it easier to build rapport. I had already placed my hand on the small stool, then decisively picked it up and moved to sit beside Su Qingqing, positioning ourselves at adjacent corners of the same table. After sitting down, I realized the system was right. Sitting side by side meant our arms easily brushed against each other, which could technically count as physical contact. Moreover, sitting face to face would have meant eating under her direct gaze, constantly worrying about food stuck in my teeth or bits of leek showing. Sitting sideways eliminated that concern. Plus, if my profile happened to be more flattering, it might even work to my advantage. At the very least, my mental burden lightened, allowing me to eat more naturally. Surprisingly, Su Qingqing had quite an appetite. I initially assumed she'd leave most of her noodle soup untouched, but she finished the entire generous portion and even ate 1 fried dough stick. Meanwhile, I'd polished off 3. After finishing, I packed some food for my dorm mates as usual. Su Qingqing didn't pack anything since the girls' dorm had snacks, bread, and milk. She even said my breath smelled nice after eating. With everything packed, I headed back. Time was tight, and the task was urgent. I couldn't afford to delay. I was brimming with motivation, determined to study hard and strive to become the ultimate soft rice king as soon as possible. Su Qingqing stopped at a fruit shop on the Student Street to buy some fruits, quite a lot, in fact. Naturally, I helped carry the bags. After all, I had enough sense for that much. At home, Whenever my mom went shopping, I was the designated laborer. This girl sure spends a lot. The hearty bowl of vermicelli soup I had, packed with meat and seafood, only cost a few dozen yuan. Meanwhile, her casual fruit haul came to over 380 yuan. I silently clicked my tongue, thinking there was a good reason I stayed single. If I had a girlfriend and tagged along to the fruit shop twice, my monthly allowance would probably be wiped out. At the intersection leading to the dorms, the dividing line between the male and female dormitories where boys go downhill and girls go uphill, I thought there was no need to accompany her further, so I handed the bag of fruit to Su Qingqing. She only took a small portion and said, "The rest is for you." I was stunned and immediately started questioning in my heart, was this really okay? Still, I managed a polite thank you. She asked if I would go running the next day, and I said yes. With a wave, she turned and walked away briskly. When I got back to the dorm carrying the fruit, old Yang was actually up. He asked, "Kid, did you strike it rich? How'd you buy so much fruit?" I figured if I told him a girl gave them to me, my roommates would say I was dreaming. Besides, how could I even explain why a girl would give me fruit? I silently wondered, was I really cut out for living off women? On my way back to the dorm carrying fruit, my emotions were complicated, and I realized why everyone wants to freeload with style. The sweet fragrance of the fruit followed me the whole way. Turns out freeloading really does smell pretty nice. I set the fruit on the table and said, "Just leave some for me. I'm heading out to study later." "Lao Yang, you're looking sharp today." Lao Yang replied he had plans to meet someone outside, prompting Da Xiao to poke his head out from his bed and tease, "Lao Yang, didn't you say you're only into sophomore girls? Changed your taste in going for senior sis Lin Xiaoya now? Please don't ruin it, leave us some hope." Lao Yang explained he was just helping Xiaoya with internship advice, which only earned mocking jeers from me and Da Xiao. "Xiaoya, huh? Who'd believe that?" Old Xiao was still snoring away in the dorm. His alcohol tolerance is awful, so he'll probably feel like death when he wakes up. I took a quick shower, packed my bag, and headed out to study. My plan was English from 8 to 9 o'clock. Studying is the ladder to progress. The more I learn, the faster I'll reach rich ladies. In the dormitory, old Xiao woke up to sunlight streaming and cold vermicelli soup and fruit awaited him, with everyone else gone. His head throbbed terribly from last night's drinking, and he'd had chaotic dreams of running a Douyin account that made money, buying a Mercedes-Benz to drive back home, only for the car to get stuck in mud while the whole village helped lift it out, praising him for his success. He hastily grabbed his phone and opened Douyin, realizing it wasn't a dream. His account "I'm Not a Simp" had earned 108k likes, his followers surged from 789 to 3,723, and that one video had surpassed 100k likes. Xiaorui got up without changing, his clothes still reeking of smoke, and walked off slurping the vermicelli soup while texting me that he was coming to see me. "Make Douyin videos together? Are you joking, old Xiao?" Having studied English for over 2 hours with the Where Did the Time Go and memory buffs active, I was resting my eyes just then. I studied so diligently, with these two buffs multiplying my efficiency. I basically relearned nearly half a semester's worth of material, and worked through half of the freshman English textbook. Just then, I saw old Xiao approaching me with bloodshot eyes and unsteady footsteps. He said, "Fourth brother, I'm not joking. I've noticed your changes these past 2 days. You were never this hard-working before. I won't press you if you don't want to explain. We're the only two left in the dorm without internship offers. My family's poor rural background with no connections. You're from an ordinary family too. We're not like old Jiang and Diqiao who have advantages. We can only rely on ourselves. You're famous, really got a chance to be viral. Check out the video I took." I took his phone with a shattered corner and saw an ugly guy tidying up his dorm in the video. "Wait, wasn't that me?" I asked. "Old Xiao, didn't you turn on the beauty filter?" He said the beauty filter made it look fake and less appealing, urging me to focus on the likes and comments instead. I tapped open the comments, only to find nothing but insults. "Ugly dude, confirmed, truly hideous, is this a dorm or a pigsty?" I was dumbfounded. How could a decent, well-behaved guy like me be described like this? Old Xiao said there were compliments about my looks further down. I scrolled, and sure enough, there were tons of comments, but I still didn't get it. The video was just me cleaning my dorm, shaky footage, simple content, and at the end, scenes of me washing my face and sleeping. Over 2 minutes long. How did this go viral? It felt completely random. Old Xiao said, "Fourth brother, I know this video blowing up might be a fluke. The next ones I film might not get this popular, or they might bomb like my old videos with single-digit likes and no views. But at least it's viral now. I filmed you, and it blew up, so I'll keep filming. Maybe we'll figure out why later." He spoke with increasing agitation, his throat clogged with phlegm, coughing a few times before continuing. "Old four, let's make Douyin videos together. Collaborate, I'll film you, you show your face, I'll handle all the post-production. Even if we don't make money, just treat it as an internship. Isn't that better than idling away at some company? Looking at his state like he'd been brainwashed by a pyramid scheme, eyes bloodshot, spittle flying everywhere, arms flailing, hands trembling, I realized Lao Shao rarely showed this much emotion. I was tempted, but also worried that if my condition was discovered, they might send me to a mental hospital. Just then, the system's mechanical voice chimed in, "Host, it is advised to expand your promotional channels. Appropriate exposure will help you achieve your goal of living off others sooner." Lao Shao asked what I thought. I said, "Let's do it, let's do it." Lao Shao, calm down, I agree to film, but it can't disrupt my daily life, and no weird content. I don't want my parents or relatives seeing it. Old Shao said it definitely wouldn't happen, and even expressed confidence that we'd succeed. He told me to keep studying while he went to edit last night's video of me singing, saying he'd come back later to film me again. Bouncing with excitement, he dashed outside only to turn back after a few steps, pulling me into a crushing hug. "Thank you, fourth brother," he said fervently. "Believe me, we're going to make it." At that moment, the system's mechanical voice chimed in, "Congratulations, host. You've successfully progressed with Rusty Bronze Tier Bachelor Xiao Rui. Remarkable results achieved. Affection level has reached 80, entering bosom friend phase. No matter how far apart life takes you, there will always be a place for you in his heart. Keep striving, aim higher, and scale new heights." Startled, I shuddered and immediately pushed old Xiao away. His eyes were red as he said to me, "Old fourth, I'll take care of you from now on." Annoyed, I retorted, "Get lost. Go do your work." Chapter 18, Unlocking New Features. I never thought guys could be romanced too, which gave me quite a shock. Though I've never had a real girlfriend, I firmly believe I like girls, male by gender, fond of females, unquestionably true. At that moment, the system's mechanical voice announced, "Affection level of target has reached 80 points. System upgrade commencing. Upgrade complete." This update includes improved character information and optimized reward mechanisms. Then a panel appeared before my eyes. Name, Fonghao, stamina, 6 of 10, average stamina, needs more exercise. You're too weak, you know. Intelligence, 6, +1/10, average intelligence, with a slight edge in memory. Free rides aren't that easy to come by, you'd better wise up. Mood, 7, +1/10, high spirits, full of youthful vitality. Keep it up, you. Morality, 8, -1/10, high moral standard, an advantage that makes it easier to gain favor, but a disadvantage as it often leads to being taken advantage of and frequent self-reproach. Appearance, 6, +1/10, average looks, still room for improvement. Looking at this transparent stats panel, I realized I'm just an ordinary person, average abilities, average looks, but with an unusually strong sense of morality that can't stand injustice in the world. Perhaps it's precisely because NPCs like me are everywhere that the world maintains its peace. Consider this my humble contribution to world peace. The host has successfully romanced a rusty bronze level single man for the first time, reaching an affinity of 80. Reward, 1 attribute point for free distribution. The system announced. Though I'm terrible at games, I understood this much. It meant assigning attribute points to NPCs. I surveyed my attributes. Following game logic, I should bolster my strengths. My standout trait was morality. What would happen if I added another point there? The system immediately warned me, when the host's moral level far exceeds the average, the advantages include easier affinity gains and trust building. The downside? Prone to mental exhaustion, emotional depression, and greater difficulties in life when high morals aren't matched by corresponding capabilities. Proceed with caution, host. I hesitated for a moment, remembering the comments on Lao Zhao's Douyin calling me ugly. While I'm no Adonis, I certainly wouldn't consider myself ugly either, so I allocated the attribute points to my appearance. Looking at the panel again, my appearance changed to 7, ±1/10, average looks, keep striving host. A handsome face is the foundation for catching a sugar mommy's eye at first glance. I turned on my phone's front camera and studied my reflection. Somehow it seems slightly more acceptable now, the ugliness less pronounced, and if I stared long enough, there was even a faint hint of handsomeness. If even a front camera could detect some attractiveness, I must have genuinely become better looking. This feels pretty good actually. I was feeling quite happy when I noticed the timer above my head starting to blink. 8 to 9 o'clock. Learn English. Learning is the ladder of human progress. More learning means more ladders, and stepping on these ladders can easily bring you face to face with wealthy women. Glancing at my watch, I saw there were only 5 minutes left until 9 o'clock. With the extra time buff, those 5 minutes stretched into 20, nearly half an hour, not too short at all. I only started studying seriously yesterday, but I'm really enjoying this state of mind, wishing I could reclaim every bit of knowledge I've missed over the past 21 years. Moreover, after each session, I feel a tad smarter and a little happier than the day before. So I sat upright again, quietly reciting words under my breath, my pen scribbling notes without pause. Bathed in the bright classroom light, I cherished this finest of moments. Chapter 19, The Weight We Carry Forward. 9 to 9:30 consuming yogurt and fruit. Striking a balance between work and rest is the basic virtue of a competent freeloader. I stood up with a stretch, packed my book, and sauntered off to the library with my backpack. When I headed out to study in the morning, I bought fruit-flavored yogurt, thinking I'd kill two birds with one stone by getting both fruit and yogurt, feeling like my brain was growing. Then the system poured cold water on me. Plain yogurt costs 1.5 per bottle, oranges 0.8 each, total 2.3 yuan. Host bought orange-flavored yogurt for 8.8 yuan. Host needs to improve calculation skills. A freeloader who can't be thrifty is easily despised. Well, my brain has shrunk again. Host has efficiently and actively completed the learning task with outstanding performance. Reward, intermediate clear voice capsule, duration, 6 hours, storable, valid for 1 month. Effect, hearing one sentence from you makes me want to hear the next. May have a chance of working on animals too. I noticed a small capsule appear on the panel, more advanced than before. It could be consumed or stored. For the moment, I chose to keep it. Just as the effect of yesterday's junior clear voice buff, 1 day duration, was fading, I ate my yogurt while reflecting. When I had the clear voice buff active yesterday, I noticed I spoke slightly louder, more slowly, and with steadier breath control than usual. Now I'll try to consciously channel that same speaking style in my everyday conversations. Passing by a barbershop, I felt my hair was getting a bit too long and turned in on impulse, definitely not because there was a girl with a high ponytail sitting at the entrance. After finishing the last sip of yogurt, I resisted the urge to lick the lid, feeling it would be wasteful. The barbershop on the student street near campus was simple and affordable, just $15 for a haircut. I heard the barbershops near the United College campus are ridiculously expensive. Basic haircuts start at 60 yuan, with tiered pricing based on the stylist's rank, 60, 120, 300. And even a rumored chief stylist who charges 2,000 yuan. Word has it he's styled celebrities, but I've never stepped inside. That's just what the shop owner claims. The barber trimmed my hair while saying, "Young man, you're looking sharp. You'll be downright handsome after this haircut." I glanced at my reflection in the mirror. After allocating attribute points, my appearance now scored a solid 7, plus or minus 1, out of 10. Looking closely, he really does look much more handsome than before. I never thought I was ugly to begin with, just handsome in a subtle way. Wearing glasses used to give me a bit of a refined butt rogue vibe, but truth be told, it was just geeky. Looking at myself now, it feels like I've grown into my features a bit more, eyes slightly bigger, jawline more defined, lips more clearly outlined, nose bridge straighter, complexion clearer, skin a shade fairer. Still me, just slightly better looking. Stepping out of the barbershop, my net worth dropped to -15/350, leaving me with 335 yuan. I'll probably have to ask dad for money again in a few days. Spending skyrockets during senior year. Before even earning a penny, I'm already feeling the financial squeeze. Preparing for my internship means buying clothes and shoes. Needing a formal suit set means another request to dad. Xiao said making TikTok videos could count as an internship, but I didn't take it seriously. Though tempted, going viral is too hard. We're just ordinary people and shouldn't dream too big. Suddenly I remembered how Xiao, worried I might be in trouble before, offered to lend me 500 yuan. It makes me curious, just how much does he have saved anyway? How did he end up labeled a rusty bronze-tier single man? And surprisingly, old Xiao is genuinely single. After years of being a simp, he's never managed to escape singlehood even once. After the system upgrade, there was a slightly more detailed explanation. Rusty bronze-tier single man, net worth 2,900 yen, approximate 2,303 yen from recycling his computer and phone, 597 yen in cash. Academic level, average, 70 points, reached beginner level in photography and editing. Appearance, ordinary, 66 points. Looking at this, I was genuinely moved. Old Xiao barely has any money left, yet he gritted his teeth and insisted on lending me 500 yen. Who knows what happened? He must really need it, and there's no guarantee he'll ever get it back. Old Xiao is truly my bro, my ride or die. That day, he returned to the dorm, fired up his computer, skipped gaming, and started editing the footage he'd shot the night before at Flaming Bar. The lighting in the Flaming Bar videos was dim and needed slight adjustments, but couldn't be overexposed and lose authenticity. Plus, the audio recorded through his phone didn't carry the same emotional punch as hearing it live. But since there was no one in the dorm, he played it on loop out loud a few times and found it quite soothing. Working with this music playing helped him stay focused and productive. The video footage today isn't as good as yesterday's, but the music is undeniably great. Old Xiao has decided to edit 2 separate videos since Douyin doesn't allow overly long uploads, 1 video per song, with some audience shots spliced in between. He didn't know why the last video went viral either, so he just followed his own thinking, keeping as much of the original as possible, editing 2 short versions, and keeping 2 full-length ones with the entire song intact. Watching him work with such passion and dedication, for a moment it seemed the weight he carried had lightened. He usually hunched unconsciously, as if his soul had always been burdened, doing everything under the watch of his parents, who were both his driving force and his shackles. Time marches on as sunlight creeps over the broken bowl on the dormitory windowsill, making the green moss inside appear even more vibrant. Old Xiao rapidly taps away at his keyboard, his greasy bangs falling across his forehead. He pushes them back with a sweep of his hand and continues typing, the keycaps shiny with accumulated oil. Meanwhile, the same sunlight has traveled to a potted orchid on the library windowsill. I flip through pages intently, unconsciously twirling a pen between my fingers. A stray strand of hair left by the barber sticks to the back of my neck, itching slightly. I give it an absent-minded pat before turning another page. Following my study schedule, I'm reading in the library from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. The system doesn't restrict book choices, so I've picked one at random. If my goal were to become a high-quality kept man, delving into calculus now would probably be useless unless I sought out Professor Liao, which I don't. So randomness is my guiding principle. Every time I visit the library, even just browsing book titles, I feel like I've gained knowledge. Having studied the second half of the freshman English textbook this morning, my mind is now full of convoluted vocabulary words. I even feel tempted to slip in some English when talking to the librarian, borrow one book. After working so hard to remember them, it'd be a shame not to show off. Once I've learned enough, I'll pick an all-English original edition someday to flaunt my skills. This book on postnatal care for sows in my hand, I'm not entirely sure why I picked it up. Maybe it's because the curly pigtail on the cover looked particularly adorable. The book covers topics like checking whether the afterbirth has been completely expelled, cleaning the sow's body, ensuring proper exercise, and methods for anti-inflammatory treatment during assisted farrowing. Although I'm learning what seems like useless knowledge, reading feels more substantial than mindlessly scrolling through TikTok. Perhaps it's because books are less addictive and things that resist human tendencies can help strengthen willpower. While I was reading, the system notified me that because I had diligently completed the reading task and remembered a third of the content, it rewarded me with a random small perk from the book Basic Nursing Skills, Permanent. The skill was a bit odd, but since it was permanent, it felt like a pretty good deal. Just then, my phone rang. It was Xiaoyu, Teacher Lu's son whom I'd added yesterday, messaging, "Bro how, my mom has a sudden meeting today. Can you accompany me to change my dressing?" I'm not very good at refusing people, so I replied, "Sure, I'll come pick you up." At the same time, the countdown bar on my forehead changed to childcare. Yesterday at this time, it had been telling me to go swimming for exercise. 10:30 to 11:30 schedule changed to learning parenting skills. Being able to take care of children well is the basic accomplishment of a kept man. Arrived at Teacher Lu's place with a coded lock. Xiaoyu sent me the passcode 1990926, which I entered to open it. The room was clean, smelling of medicine with a faint fragrance. I called out, "Xiaoyu, it's me, Feng Hao." Then I heard him shout, "Hao Ji, save me." Going over, I saw him stuck between the desk and bed in his wheelchair, unable to move. I didn't ask him why he didn't go to Teacher Lu. I understand how little boys his age think. They just want to prove they've grown up, unwilling to show weakness in front of their mothers. I helped him pull out his wheelchair and asked what he needed. He said he wanted the Dolua Dalu comic from the shelf. The moment he got the comic, he brightened up instantly. Apparently, his wheelchair had gotten stuck while he was trying to reach the book. Luckily, he had his phone with him and could contact me. He also said if the wound dressing change hurts, lie down and read manga, it's really gripping stuff. Looking at his cheerful and talkative demeanor, I recalled being just like that as a child, always eager to chat with people. Later, when my parents lost their jobs and started selling snacks to get by, our family life changed. They argued frequently, though never outright in front of me, but I could still sense the tension. From then on, I gradually became quieter. The little guy chattered nonstop the whole way as I wheeled him to the school clinic for a dressing change. He said his dad was supposed to come today but stood him up because his dad's new girlfriend, already pregnant, was feeling unwell and needed to go to the hospital. Under the shade of a tree, he pouted unhappiness and grumbled about how dad moved on too quickly after the divorce. He swore he'd never be like his father when he grew up. He fretted that his dad wouldn't want him anymore after having a new baby and begged me to play Honor of Kings with his friends after the bandage change. I agreed, and his face lit up with joy. He also confessed dad had promised to take him into the city for easier wound care but broke that promise too. He didn't want mom to find out and get hurt, so he came to me first to delay her heartbreak. Finally, he made me swear not to tell mom about the pregnant girlfriend, saying she deserved better and should find a hot younger guy to spite dad. I couldn't help thinking to myself, what a dutiful son this kid is. Chapter 21, Dining Together. Finally arriving at the school infirmary, I breathed a long sigh of relief. The gossip I heard along the way was far too thrilling. It felt like I now knew way too much. The school doctor, Old Dong, was a stout, balding man. Chen Xiaoyu obediently greeted him, "Uncle Dong, I've come to change my dressing. Teacher Lu said you were going to the city, so I thought you wouldn't be coming today. At the moment, it's just me here. Come over, student, and give me a hand," said Nurse Dong, noticing my well-behaved student appearance and casually asking for my help. I happened to have just finished reading the book on postpartum self-care earlier, which gave me a permanent basic nursing skill. Now it's coming in handy. At first, Dr. Dong, the school physician, only asked me to assist him, but later, when he found me quite capable, our roles reversed, and I ended up assisting him more substantially. Old Dong is a proper doctor who graduated from a prestigious medical university. After landing the cushy job of a school physician, he's become quite the expert at cutting corners. I worked meticulously, with steady and precise movements. Whether removing bandages or applying medicine, I handled everything swiftly and efficiently. Inexperienced hands might turn minor wounds into major injuries, but a professional makes the process as smooth as peeling a banana. Xiaoyu's wound dressing change and disinfection were relatively straightforward, but the real challenge was the bandaging. Since the wound was on his waist, sloppy bandaging could lead to injury, while wrapping it too tightly might impede recovery. I used a crisscross wrapping technique, ensuring the bandage stayed secure without completely restricting movement. Old Dawn looked somewhat surprised. Classmate, have you studied professional nursing? Your technique is very skilled, better than even our junior nurses. Xiaoyu, lying face down, chimed in eagerly. Yeah, Hao Ji, you're amazing. Last time I got my dressing changed, it hurt so much I felt like my waist was breaking apart again. But this time, it didn't hurt at all. Yeah, my grandmother was a head nurse. I used to follow her to the hospital to play when I was little, I explained. It wasn't exactly a lie, just implying that maybe I had picked it up back then. After saying it, I startled even myself. Suddenly, I felt like I had the potential to be a proper scoundrel. The lie came out so effortlessly, without even the slightest hint of deception. After changing the dressing, Nurse Dong drew back the curtain, only to find Teacher Lu standing outside. She was slightly out of breath, her eyes still a bit red, probably from hurrying all the way there. I used to respect teachers greatly, but with Xiaoyu filling my head with gossip, I now felt a little awkward seeing the teacher. Mom, why are you here? Xiaoyu looked up at his mother, both happy and surprised. After all, he was just a 9-year-old kid trying to act tough but not quite managing it. You little rascal, why are you troubling others? Lu Chuili had thought the child's father would pick him up to take him into the city today. Due to the unpleasantness caused by their divorce, she had left early to avoid meeting him, afraid they might argue again and embarrass the child. As a result, the child's father blamed her for not taking good care of their son, saying he would take Xiaoyu to the city for easier medical treatment, but he never showed up. The thought of Xiaoyu waiting alone at home for his father, in poor health, made Teacher Lu utterly heartbroken. If it weren't for a colleague mentioning they might have spotted Xiaoyu, she wouldn't even have known about the child's condition. No trouble at all, teacher. I just happened to be free. To me, Teacher Lu sounded just like my own mom, quick to scold but even quicker to worry deep down. I never fully understood this kind of feeling before, but seeing how Teacher Lu and Xiaoyu interacted, it suddenly clicked. Noticing her emotions running high, I figured I'd go the extra mile and help escort Xiaoyu home with her. Xiaoyu had been quite upset this morning, but now he was overjoyed. Sitting in his wheelchair, he kept calling out Mom, Haogu is amazing. He promised to play a round of games with me after changing my dressing. Mom, Haogu even studied nursing. When he changed my dressing, it didn't hurt at all. I didn't even blink. Mom, can I have braised pork for lunch? Mom. Listening to Xiaoyu call for his mom all the way, I suddenly missed my own mother and decided to call her as soon as I got back. When we arrived at Teacher Lu's place, Xiaoyu clung to me reluctantly. I gave him a look. We could still connect online to play games back at the dorm. Teacher Lu took one glance at me and patted my arm like I was his own son. Where do you think you're going? Stay for lunch. Ah! I felt a burning sensation on my arm and leaped up in surprise. Xiaoyu giggled GGG, clearly delighted to see me getting hit just like he had. I headed to the kitchen to help, but the teacher grabbed my arm. Just the three of us are eating. No need for your help. Keep Xiaoyu company. He's surely going to pester you to play games. This time when she grabbed my arm and gave it a tug, my face instantly flushed red. It was summer, and I was wearing short sleeves. Teacher Lu was dressed in a sheer silk blouse with a black fishtail skirt that clung to her figure like a mermaid's tail, revealing her creamy, slightly plump calves. She stands about 5'3", wearing 3-inch stiletto heels, and even with them on, she's still a tad shorter than me. Su Qingqing scores an 83 out of 100 in looks, while Teacher Lu gets an 80, but a loveless rookie like me has zero resistance to that mature, Snow White 80-point charm. I frantically fled to Xiaoyu's side, sat down, pulled out my phone, and started playing games. The hand speed buff and memory buff were still active, but they only lasted 24 hours. If I didn't use them now, they'd expire. Xiaoyu noticed my flushed face and sweaty forehead and asked me to turn on the air conditioner for him, saying the remote was on the bookshelf. Reaching for the small box on the third shelf to grab the remote, I noticed a fallen photo frame. I absent-mindedly picked it up. Inside was a picture of a tall, handsome man with Teacher Lu. The man resembled Xiaoyu a bit and was probably Teacher Lu's ex-husband. He had well-proportioned, striking features, a high forehead, a prominent nose, no obvious flaws. He looked over 6 feet tall with a great physique, like a clothes hanger, dressed sharply in what appeared to be expensive, perfectly tailored attire, the very image of a successful man. It was just an ordinary snapshot, Teacher Lu in a dress, one arm linked with the man's, the other tucking her hair behind her ear, a smile curling her lips. Just looking at the photo, you could almost taste the sweetness of the breeze that day. It took me a second glance before I flipped the photo frame back face down. Probably Teacher Lu got divorced, that's why the frame was lying upside down in the corner. Never expected her ex to be so handsome. I scolded myself for letting my imagination run wild. Disrespectful thoughts like these were just wrong. I took Xiaoyu on a rampage in the King's Glory world, but less than half an hour in, Teacher Lu called us for dinner. Together, we helped Xiaoyu up. Because her son was injured, Teacher Lu didn't dare use too much strength, afraid of hurting him, but she also didn't dare loosen her grip, fearing she might drop him. Meanwhile, with my basic nursing skills, I carefully maneuvered him up with a gentle pull. Ironically, Teacher Lu was so nervous she couldn't even touch her own son properly. In her panic, she grabbed my arm, and I nearly flung Xiaoyu across the room. Teacher, just stay still. I've got this, I'm pretty strong. Chapter 22, if I say it's suitable, then it is. After settling Xiaoyu in place, I sat down to eat. The time bar in front of me had been flashing for quite a while, displaying 11:30 to 12:30, lunch, along with a note that read, eat well at lunch, stay energized all day. The lunch was incredibly sumptuous, featuring scrambled eggs with tomatoes, braised pork, seaweed and pork rib soup, stir-fried water spinach, and pan-fried tofu. The dishes were a feast for both the eyes and the palate, vibrant in color, aromatic in fragrance, and far more enticing than any cafeteria fare, brimming with that unmistakable wok hei. I watched Teacher Lu in front of me. As she worked, a strand of her bangs clung to her pale cheek. She brushed it away twice but failed to adjust it properly, so she simply left it be. I don't know what came over me, but I couldn't keep my hands to myself. Almost as if possessed, I reached out and brushed her bangs aside for her. Teacher Lu was startled, immediately glancing at Xiaoyu first. Seeing him engrossed in eating braised pork, she finally relaxed. Turning back to me, she found me grinning foolishly at her like some well-behaved child. Strangely enough, just yesterday I thought this kid was rather unremarkable, plain-looking and introverted. But today, looking at him again, he suddenly seemed so bright-eyed and handsome. I wondered if my ex-husband had driven me crazy. Why else would I entertain such wild thoughts? Just because she took care of Xiaoyu, my mind started wandering. Disgusting. At this moment, the system's reward notification popped up. Host has exceeded childcare mission expectations and received genuine gratitude from the recipient. Reward, 1 mm growth to be applied to any body part. I immediately chose height. Watching myself grow slightly from 173.2 centimeters, I couldn't help but smile. Eat up. Why are you spacing out? Teacher Lu adjusted her mood. Seeing me grinning foolishly in front of her, those strange thoughts from earlier instantly disappeared. Yes, teacher. A growing teenager like me could really eat. I devoured everything like a whirlwind. Xiaoyu and I even fought over the last piece of braised pork. I mixed the remaining sauce with rice. Absolutely delicious. Scrambled eggs with tomatoes, the eggs fragrant and crisp, the tomatoes slightly tangy, the flavor absolutely divine. The braised pork belly was beyond reproach, the fatty parts rendered translucent, not greasy in the slightest, perfectly balanced between salty and sweet, just right with rice. The water spinach was lush and green, as pleasing to the eye as it was to the palate. The pan-fried tofu had a golden brown crust, seasoned with nothing but a sprinkle of salt, the exterior crispy and fragrant while the inside retained the tofu's unique aroma. I felt I could finish one plate and immediately start another. The spare rib and kelp soup had thick kelp, the broth clear, sweet, and pure, free of odd additions like scallions, the kelp itself crisp and utterly delicious. After finishing the meal, I suddenly felt like crying. It was that good. My family runs a small eatery, yet my own meals are the most haphazard because during peak hours, when business is bustling, I can only grab whatever's convenient. I remember when I was little, before my family opened the eatery, we ate better and more lavishly. My parents would come home from the factory in the evening and cook hearty meals. The three of us would sit together, lively and warm, listening to them gossip about work while they asked about my studies. Today's meal at Teacher Lu's house felt like returning to those childhood days. No, even better than childhood, the flavors more exquisite. I thought to myself, with cooking skills like Teacher Lu's, her ex-husband actually dared to divorce her. What an idiot. What's the use of being handsome? He must have no brains. Curious to learn more about Teacher Lu's details, the system displayed, Lu Chuanli, a silver-tier single woman with a net worth of 6.2 million, scored 80 points for knowledge, culinary skills at intermediate beginner level, fit for formal occasions, above average appearance at 80 points. Host, please put in a good show. Come on. Last time I was too shy to eat properly and pretended to be reserved. What a pity. This time, since I'd become closer with Xiaoyu, I completely let loose and enjoyed the meal to the fullest. After dinner, I offered to help clean up, but Teacher Lu stopped me again, insisting I go play with Xiaoyu. I felt it wouldn't be appropriate to play video games with him this time. After all, he's only 9, and getting addicted wouldn't be good. Besides, my hand speed buff isn't always active. If I come back next time and perform poorly, that would be awkward. Considering Xiaoyu gave me an extra 1 millimeter of height, I decided to play Legos with him instead. The boy never truly grows up. 9-year-old Xiaoyu and 21-year-old me play together with such earnestness as we assemble a model ship. When Teacher Lu finishes tidying the kitchen and steps out, seeing our heads pressed close together, she can't help but smile. She went to the living room cabinet and took out a box. After we finished assembling the ship model, she came in and said, "Xiaoyu, it's time for your nap. Your brother needs to go back and sleep too. He has classes this afternoon." Xiaoyu, perfectly content, obediently shifted into position and settled down to sleep. The last bandage change at the campus clinic might not have been done properly. It was too tight, leaving him uncomfortable these past few days. Today he feels much better, partly because more time has passed since the surgery. "Brother Hao, can I come to you for the dressing change next time?" "Sure. Sleep well and listen to your mom. Bye." Watching Xiaoyu lie down properly, I stepped out. Teacher Lu gently closed the bedroom door, leaving just the two of us in the living room. I suddenly felt inexplicably nervous. Goodbye, teacher. I'll be going now." My voice was shaky, anything but composed, quiet and utterly lacking in poise. Right now I'm really missing the buff of a clear voice. I feel like my speech is all muddled, lacking confidence and conviction, even a bit sleazy. Wait a moment. When it's just the two of us, the teacher seems a little stern. "Try these shoes on." I sat down perplexed, seeing a pair of black and white sneakers placed before me with an N logo. I recognized them as New Balance, probably costing several hundred yuan. I felt slightly awkward, but then thinking how handsome the teacher's ex-husband was definitely out of my league, I stopped overthinking it. Obediently taking off my shoes, I revealed my gray socks underneath. At least there were no holes, and they hadn't been worn for too many days, so no odor. I put on my new shoes. Teacher Lu crouched down and pressed the toe of the shoe. Perfect, the length is just right too. I originally bought this for Xiaoyu's dad. As Xiaoyu must have told you, we got divorced recently. It'll fit you well, so please take it, better than letting it go to waste sitting around. I looked at Teacher Lu squatting in front of me, only able to see her back, buttocks, and hair. No, this isn't appropriate. I stammered nervously, my words tumbling over each other. If I say it fits, then it fits. Put them on. Teacher Lu stuffed my old sneakers directly into the shoebox and even tore off the brand tag from the new shoes on my feet. Wearing the new shoes and carrying the old ones, I left the faculty apartment in a daze, feeling completely bewildered the whole way back. Once back in the dorm, De Chao immediately spotted the shoes on my feet. He was a male version of a shoe addict, obsessed with buying sneakers. He exclaimed dramatically, Lao Si, no, brother Si, how did you get your hands on these? These are the New Balance * Fresh Goods 990V4 Collaboration Edition. Super hard to cop. I've been stalking them forever and still couldn't get a pair. These shoes cost over 2,000 yuan. My feet suddenly felt warm as I listened. Chapter 23, My Fairy Tale Roommate. My sister gave it to me, I said, unable to spin any further lies. At that moment, I felt a twinge of regret. How foolish I was. I really should have boosted my intelligence. How could I have been so foolish back then, actually mentioning looks? So what if people called me ugly? Sigh, my intelligence really is just average at 6 points. I can't even remember this, it's truly depressing. With intelligence at 6, I completely failed to realize I should improve my intellect. De Chao's eyes sparkled as she stared at me, squealing excitedly, I want a pair too. Fourth, those shoes make you look so tall, not just taller, but even more handsome. Truly worth being a collab edition. I need them too. He didn't even ask which sister it was before rushing to check the official website and the WeChat group for shoe sellers he joined. I wiped the cold sweat from my forehead. It had broken out in an instant. I'd lied to my roommate, and I wasn't sure if my morality points would take a -2 hit. Something told me it wouldn't be right to say Teacher Lu gave them to me. Explaining that Teacher Lu was divorced and all that would feel like gossiping behind someone's back. But receiving such expensive fruit out of the blue was already absurd, hundreds of yuan worth. Now it was even crazier, limited edition shoes worth over 2,000 yuan. My monthly allowance wasn't even that much. My sense of morality was hanging by a thread. De Chao is quite naive. If someone suddenly claims to have an elder sister out of nowhere, he probably wouldn't press for details. Old Xiao is even simpler, just plain insecure, so he wouldn't ask too much either. But Old Yang, a battle-hardened veteran, would see through the lie in an instant. Right now, I can't tell whether I'm more ashamed of accepting gifts from others for no reason, or more afraid of the shame if I get exposed. Turns out, freeloading isn't as easy as it seems. I asked, where's Old Xiao? Someone replied, he went out to buy food. After working all morning, I was exhausted. The timeline softened gently now, 12:30 to 1300 hours, nap time. An afternoon nap keeps you fresh all day. I cheerfully lay down on the bed. People are so easily gaslit. Yesterday at this time, they had me tidying up the dorm, working like a dog and exhausted. Today, they tell me to nap, and somehow I'm happy about it. After lying down, I first pulled out my phone. Since I spent less time on it yesterday, it suddenly felt even more entertaining. Clutching my phone and unwilling to put it down, I opened my social feed and even found the ads fascinating. Why is Huawei's car ad targeting a broke college student like me? Are they suggesting I should go work for them? Dreaming of working at Huawei? Might as well wish for the moon. My university is practically unknown even within the province. If I applied to Huawei, maybe I could land a security guard position if I'm lucky. After browsing the car ad, I opened Douyin and immediately saw an account titled, "I'm Not a Simp." Turns out, old Xiao had deleted all his videos of other girls, leaving just one mine. An entire account with only my video. My heart skipped a beat. Old Xiao isn't simping over other girls anymore. He's gone all out. He used to lavish praise on every video, but now, I'm the only one left standing. I clenched my eyes shut for my midday nap, not daring to look anymore. Another glance and half an hour would slip away, the progress bar glaring at me. I set my phone down, thinking I wouldn't fall asleep, but soon rolled over and started snoring lightly. Seeing me asleep, Xiao consciously put on headphones and muted his music. He browsed the official website, limited purchases, pre-orders, and even a lottery draw, all too troublesome. Someone in the sneaker group chat on WeChat was selling them, but he'd never bought from them before, worried they might be fakes, so he decided to wait for me to wake up and ask how my sister had gotten hers. The dorm door creaked open, and just as Lao Xiao was about to speak, Xiao pointed at me and whispered, "Old Four's asleep. Let's keep it down." Lao Xiao had grabbed 2 boxed meals from the cafeteria, saying if it weren't for my fruit stash, he'd have passed out from low blood sugar. The cafeteria was cheap and better than takeout. Xiao took the food and transferred the money, eating while scrolling on his phone. Lao Xiao, too hungry to eat right away, went back to editing his video instead. His video is practically finished, but he keeps wanting to perfect it, making revisions over 800 times, feeling like he's poured everything he's got into it today. He's done his research. Videos that go viral on Douyin are different from those on TV, and the singing niche is packed with celebrities and big names, making it extra hard to stand out. Yesterday, his edited video blew up. Thanks to its unique touch, the home organization niche isn't as oversaturated. Today's title reads, "My legendary roommate, #singing prodigy #. In senior year, I finally realized my roommate is a vocal god." The video opens with a lavish spread of food, me slurping noodles messily, Lao Yang introducing everyone, me mumbling with a full mouth, before the scene cuts to me belting out a tune in a dark corner. The tight runtime didn't allow the full song to be included, but the video is wildly entertaining, playing up the contrast for charm. At first, I'm scarfing down noodles like a hamster, cheeks puffed, eyes wide with goofy innocence, then suddenly, I'm seated at a mic stand under dim lights, radiating an inexplicable air of brooding charisma. The moment I start singing, the contrast is electrifying, like stumbling onto a star's original recording, crystal clear and moving, leaving you craving more after just one line. Xiao Rui kept revising the draft but eventually felt the first version was the best. Deciding to stop wasting effort, he resolved to post the video. After hitting the publish button, he sighed in relief, opened his takeout box, and began eating. He'd packed himself eggplant braised in soy sauce with rice. Halfway through eating, he changed his TikTok username again, switching from "I am not a simp" to "my divine roommate," then resumed his meal in peace. Beep beep beep. The alarm on my phone rang, waking me comfortably. Maybe I'm not used to getting up early. I'd had drinks last night too, and with my limited tolerance, just one glass leaves me emotionally overwhelmed. The afternoon nap enhanced with the "where has time gone" buff was of excellent quality, and I woke up with the vitality of a youthful body once more. Just as I roused, the system notification chimed in. The host enjoyed lunch with great pleasure and reverence, honoring the delicious food and secreting dopamine. Reward granted, the primary minor enhancement buff exercise boost, 1 day, which activates the host's athletic talents, making exercise as natural as a fish in water. With this, the host can fully showcase their robust physique, shining as brightly as a star on the sports field. How could anyone not adore you? 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., playing tennis. I heard that the intensity and workload of tennis can be easily adjusted, making it suitable for everyone from 6 or 7-year-old children to 80 or 90-year-old seniors. On the court, you can freely showcase your strong arms, swift hits, and agile returns, all while flaunting your physique. They say mastering this sport ensures a comfortable lifestyle from youth to old age. I thought to myself, well, there goes another useless fact. Who knew tennis could freeload off different age groups like that? In my sophomore year, I chose tennis as an elective. Originally, all my dorm mates had planned to pick tennis too. Rumor had it the class was full of beautiful girls in tennis skirts with long legs. In the end, Dacia chose film appreciation, saying there were more girls there and it wasn't tiring. Old Yang, while scouting the tennis courts, ended up hitting on a tall sophomore girl and dropped the idea of joining us. To his credit, he had principles. He wouldn't date 2 girls at the same place. Only Lao Xiao and I stuck with it since we foolishly bought rackets together, over 100 yuan each. It'd be a waste not to go. Truth be told, picking up sports in college is a steal. Once you graduate, private tennis coaching runs hundreds per session, plus court fees of another 100 or 2. At school, you pay nothing extra to learn, get top-notch instructors, and play on free courts. Back then, though, I hadn't graduated yet, no such realizations. By the time they hit, it's usually too late to act on them. While I was sleeping, Lao Sha posted my singing video on his Douyin account. He thought it would go viral instantly, but that was far from the case. Previously, my Douyin posts only got single-digit likes and a few dozen views. This time, although it slowly gained a few dozen likes and a few hundred views, it was still miles away from going viral and cashing in. Lao Zhao's eyes were sore from staring at the back-end stats. Yesterday's casually filmed dorm cleanup video was just a random post, but today's was meticulously edited, with a storyline, great visuals, and my uniquely distinctive singing voice. He genuinely believed it was the best video he'd ever made in his 23 years, yet the response was lukewarm. He consoled himself, thinking maybe it hadn't been up long enough, or it wasn't peak Douyin hours, and things might pick up by evening. But his fingers couldn't resist constantly refreshing the stats page. There was one comment with 3 dogface heads, and I had no idea what it meant. I woke up feeling that Lao Sha was off, his leg was shaking frantically under the table, making the whole desktop tremble. I called out to him, "Lao Sha, let's go play tennis." He didn't really want to go, still wanting to check his data, but after refreshing the backend again and seeing no increase in comments, he felt a bit dejected. Seeing my energetic demeanor, he perked up again, thinking he couldn't let me down. Even if this video didn't go viral, there would always be the next one. He should persevere for at least 6 months before considering giving up. Pumping himself up, he said he should lead by example and just go for it. He also suggested heading out now to capture some footage for me. I helped carry the rackets while Lao Shao brought the camera. We didn't buy professional tennis outfits, just wore loose shorts and t-shirts. I noticed some of the scars on my calves seemed to have faded. Turns out the system had switched rewards from routine tasks like eating yogurt to scar removal. This system was quite persistent about giving me a flawless, porcelain-like body. Just as Xiao and I stepped onto the tennis court, a robotic voice announced, "Detected within 20 meters of the host, 1 bronze-tier single woman. Net worth, 1.2 million. Average academic level, 60 points. Above average looks, 79 points. Host, sees every opportunity to impress her. Good luck." The moment we entered, we saw a girl swinging a tennis racket, dressed in a matching white top with black trim and a tennis skirt. That was Gu Xiaoman, radiating a bold, dazzling smile. She yelled loudly when she noticed us, "Mouse, you guys here to play too? Come on, let's have a match." I haven't crushed anyone in days, perfect timing, since I'm in a bad mood today. Before I could retreat, I had no choice but to steel myself and walk forward, thinking, if you expect me to conquer her, I swear I'll just die. Gu Xiaoman was from Union College, taking tennis lessons with us as an elective. From the very first class, she took pleasure in bullying me and even gave me the nickname Mouse. During practice matches, she wiped the floor with me, insisting on partnering with me every single class. She must have learned tennis in high school. Crushing a beginner like me was way too easy. Once, I spent the entire class picking up balls, and my back was so sore the next day I couldn't even get out of bed. At first, I was too embarrassed to refuse, but later it became impossible to say no. It drove me crazy. I rarely dislike people, but Gu Xiaoman is definitely one of them. So what if she's from wealthy Union College? Who does she think she is to look down on others? But thanks to her torment, my tennis skills actually improved quite a bit. Playing poorly meant spending all day retrieving balls, so I had no choice but to step up my game. The system spoke again. Please view potential employers rationally. Host. Bronze level single female Gu Xiaoman, age 19, net worth 1.2 million, an off-campus apartment worth 1.12 million, plus 80,000 in pocket money. Average academic performance at 60 points, passionate about sports, lacks enthusiasm for academic subjects, above average looks at 79 points, good foundation, healthy physique. I was shocked. Gu Xiaoman is only 19? She lied to me that she's 22 and made me call her big sis every day. Even if she owns property, it's still no good, absolutely no good. She totally despises me, looks down on me, acts all high and mighty, never looks me in the eye, bosses me around, and even makes me pick up balls for her. I directly waved my racket at Gu Xiaoman and refused. "Sorry, Xiaoman, I'm playing with my roommate today, no time. Maybe next time." Unexpectedly, the system's voice echoed in my head again. "Congratulations, host, for making significant progress in courting bronze-level single female Gu Xiaoman. Favorability has reached 77. Keep up the good work, strive for continuous improvement, and aim for the pinnacle." I was stunned. "System, are you broken?" The system replied, "Serves you right for being single, can't you tell she likes you?"